Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast 386. Tim Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, back in Wisconsin, next to Johnny V.
You called it, when you got on the plane, you made a message calling it the Great White North.
Yep.
And all I kept thinking is, the only thing white up here is me. Because we've got no snow. My family is actually starting to get a little frustrated that we've had really one dusting. And I'm not one to complain about no snow because I'm the guy that's got a shovel and snow blow. But I will say, being mid-January and not having a chance really for the kids to get out to a sledding hill, a little disappointing. So
to be fair, I think you're a little bit maybe just in the wrong suburbs. Some of the Milwaukee area has snow. You're
a little bit.
You're
not
just
like
now
a decent...
incredibly close to the lake, so yeah. I think some of your some of your precipitation's a little different.
It is, but it's not like we've had a ton of snow. Like there's not like Dretska has maybe like an inch or two on the ground. It's we don't see a great. It hasn't been great sledding weather at all. So
it hasn't. Well,
give me one good 6-inch snowfall, and then I'm done.
I'll leave that alone. So we are here tonight, and of course, as Johnny mentioned, just got back from Arizona. Big shout out. I know I give plenty of accolades time and time again. I was thinking today just how much I enjoy the Arizona disc golf scene and so many of the people that are there. I know every single state, every county and municipality, and even course sometimes has their own politics and infighting and clubs and all that other stuff. All that's going to take place everywhere. But just overall, every time I've stepped foot into Arizona, I'm treated so well by so many people. And so I thank you guys so much for having me. In fact, I'm going to go back in 2 weeks. Has nothing to do with the weather, nothing to do with leaving Wisconsin.
Do you forget your wallet there? Do you need to run back to Duke's?
I'm heading back for Maricopa and super excited to do so. I've been there for the last few years, like the Shelly Sharpe, so I'm excited to go back.
I was actually thinking, and your plan is still to go to Thailand, right?
It is not.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
As of a few days ago, I think.
I wasn't sure with COVID and travel and everything, because I know at one point you were planning on being gone for almost like 6 straight weeks.
Yeah, and now and that included Disc Golf Con, which recently, of course, got postponed till next year, and then also just with Thailand and everything else going on, I'm getting updates from some of the successes of getting there and playing and participating in it, but it sounded like there's always a chance I could get stuck there, and which I know you could have bigger problems, but I've got to come back, work with the Disc Golf Pro Tour, Disc Golf Network, with the All-Star event taking place in Tucson. So many things going on, and I didn't want to risk something major going down. So I love me some Samui, and I promise I will get back there. And someone who even talked about it, saying that she's going to try and get there some year. She's been hearing good things, even though she enjoys the Arizona weather. This weekend's champion coming to us now, wearing multiple hats as usual, Jennifer Allen. Hey, Jen.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
How you doing?
Good. Ready for bed.
Yeah. I know you are a working woman that puts in plenty of hours.
8 o'clock or 7 o'clock there right now?
It's early. It's 8 o'clock.
Okay. All right. I know it can change depending on the time of year. So.
Not for them, I guess.
No,
you guys stay the same no matter what.
We stay the same.
Okay, you're always always an hour.
You crazy mountain people.
I was gonna say I always confuse like what we're in. Like I guess it's mountain time or just Arizona time. I don't know.
I don't know.
If you don't know,
special.
I don't feel bad. So
yeah, you live there.
I know there's half the year that I get calls like really early in the morning from everyone in Oklahoma. I'm like, oh, shut up. No.
That's what happens. You're so popular. So, Jen, first and foremost, let's we start with the accolades. Congratulations, you this weekend, just a couple days ago, about 48 hours ago, you're crowned champion over there at the Shelly Sharpe, and you played some pretty solid golf throughout the weekend, and you started off hot, and it felt like you just kind of kept rolling with it.
Kinda. I started off. The first round was definitely my best round. I was putting confident. I hit a couple Circle 2 putts. Was throwing some great drives. Maybe didn't capitalize on everything I could have. I actually had a couple more OBs. I think maybe the first round. I threw hole 3. I've been going long, and so I was like, okay, higher and wider. And I like almost went on top of the apartments. And so like I had a couple of stupid OBs the first round that I corrected. But it was definitely a solid round. Round two, the guys wasn't bad, but it was windy for us.
Yep.
And so you know how it is, like 60% of those baskets are elevated.
Mm-hmm.
So elevated 20-mile-per-hour winds, that's like so shifty in Arizona. So I started kind of just playing safe and being more nervous, and it kind of carried over a little bit into Sunday. So I wasn't putting quite as strong. My drives were just amazing. So I was pretty stoked about that, but it just showed me I still have a lot of work to do. I've been trying to put in a lot more work, but I have a lot more to do.
Well, yeah. I mean, you said that the final round, you were still a little nervous. You still beat the field by 4 strokes just that round. So
yeah, I know. And I don't really look at the scores. I've never been one of those people. I keep an actual scorecard. I don't like keeping on the PDGA or anything. I keep a paper card because I write it down and I know it's right. And then I don't think about it. I don't know about it. And I just have always focused on mistakes. And so I know Callie and I were pretty close at the beginning. We were kind of battling. She was playing super smart and good. Own was very uncharacteristic with her putting. I don't know if I've ever seen Own miss so many putts, and she didn't care. You know, Own's so amazing. She knows how good she is. Mm-hmm. And so she was just like, whatever, it is what it is. And maybe because she was so far behind, if it would have been a little closer, she might have been pushing those putts and hitting everything like she always does. But yeah, I just was counting still a lot of mistakes. And that's something that I've really been focusing on is limiting all my mistakes. I want to get out there this year and compete at the top every weekend. And to do that, the talent's so good. You can't make mistakes. And I still left a lot out there. So.
And speaking of competing, a couple of card mates and teammates, Ian Own, as you just mentioned, had a kind of an off weekend. We're also seeing more and more of Callie McMorrin, who's out there and fully on tour, but yet, essentially running a retail travel store and everything else.
Yeah, she is.
What was it like having another one of your teammates out there? And, I feel like you guys kind of go back a little while, don't you?
Yeah, we do. But with me not really playing much last year, I haven't seen Callie, it feels like, in forever. I saw her briefly at Tennessee for Masters Worlds. She kind of popped in there. So I've seen her a little bit here. I saw her actually at Tim Zielinski briefly as well, but she was caddying for her dad. So we didn't really get to hang out or play together. But yeah, it's been a long time. So it was great to see her. I hadn't seen Sandra in a while. Owen I've been playing with quite a bit, but it's always awesome to play with Owen. She's probably one of my favorite players to ever play against. So yeah, we had a lot. Innova was strong this weekend.
And did I see this is the first time you've beat Own in Arizona, or maybe on these?
No clue.
I was going to say that's news to me. Okay.
Yeah, I thought I swear I read.
Stat Mando's doing work somewhere.
I saw something that said you were like 0 for 5 against Own in Arizona. And now you've, so to speak, beat her. So clearly that wasn't any thought. There's no monkey on your back. But
No.
I know you well enough to know that you don't think about those things. But I believe I read that somewhere that you finally bested Own in Arizona or something along those lines. Yeah,
Well,
so you can rub it in later.
I definitely would have beat her a couple years ago at Memorial because I got second at Memorial a couple years ago.
So maybe it was just the
So,
Shelly
Stack,
Sharpe
I
or
was
something like. I just repeat
Johnny,
what
where
I
are you
read
getting your
online.
information from? That's what we need to know.
Definitely not Stat Mando. They're way better than that.
Overall, the weekend was gorgeous. I know you're quite now accustomed to the kind of the weather and the typical conditions out there in Arizona, but gorgeous weekend, great weather, and it seemed like everything went pretty smooth for everybody.
Yeah, you say gorgeous. It could have been warmer. It was a little.
Oh, stop.
That was kind of the coolest, windiest weekend we've had in a while.
Okay, so this 69 or 70 degrees. Again, coming from Wisconsin.
The Oklahoma clearly has left her because I know it
Yes.
gets colder there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I was talking to Michaela. She said it's going to be like 12 degrees on Friday. I'm like, so you're coming back?
Yeah. So what is your, and again, I know you're busy, but what is your work-life balance look like right now? Kind of what's your plan heading into 2022 in terms of actual golf?
So I officially went part-time, or we call PRN, in October. Although I have not changed anything, and I still have seen as many patients as I always have, which is getting a little frustrating, but I'm trying to be patient and accept it. Last week, they actually told me, hey, can you give some patients to other people because you have way more? And so I did. I gave up 4 patients, which is very hard for me. And then this week, I had to take all of them back because the therapist I gave them to went out for emergency gallbladder surgery. And so it's like every week I feel like, okay, I'm going to have like 2-3 days off to like get a bunch of stuff done that I need to get done, or just practice or whatever, or work out. And it's just something every week. We've had multiple therapists out with COVID. And so just there's been someone gone every week for work. So I've still been working just as much, but that's going to end soon. They know I'm part-time.
I was just going to say, I can understand the frustration. I'm thinking, hey, I'm working 40, 45, 50 hours a week, whatever you were doing, quite a bit. And then to still be carrying essentially, the same workload, even when you're supposed to be kind of reclassified.
Yeah.
Is that all of healthcare right now, though, right?
Yeah. I mean,
for
sure.
It's understaffed everywhere.
It's insane. I still, every day, I don't know how the nurses do it in the hospital. I mean, we don't have to deal with it quite as much, I don't think. But it's just everything's busy in healthcare and everyone's short staff. The fact that nurses still go to work every day like blows my mind. I think I saw our numbers tonight on the news. We had 23,000 cases today. So COVID is still out there, whether people are very sick or not. Our numbers are insane. So,
wow. Well,
yeah.
Hopefully you find the best, both physical and mental balance that you can out there, because it's just been incredible for all the healthcare workers, as you said. Now, one of the things that you've done, which you told me about a few months ago, and now it's turned into a full-blown operation. You're wearing a brand new hat and taking on a whole new role with the PDGA, and it's in the world of media. So break it down. What's been going on?
Job.
Yeah, I know. Just take my job already.
Definitely never taking your job. And like I told you, it's weird because when Terry would always approach me, I'd always be like, oh my God, Terry, I hate talking. But here I am.
First you would blush and then you'd be like, oh.
I would still do that. So they just approached me towards the end of the year, and I'm just kind of subcontracting with them. I don't work for the PDGA, but they asked me to co-host a fellow Okie, Grant Zellner, who I've known for quite a while, and he's great. He has so much background in marketing and radio and everything. So he does a really good job. He does all the work. I just come on and like say a few things, and then I go back to work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, that's a great distinction that you, unlike Grant, actually, I believe,
right,
are not a PDGA employee.
Correct.
Grant is. He was
Yes.
Brought onto the team last year, I believe. And what was kind of how was it pitched? Because we've seen a couple iterations of PDGA Radio and what that really means, and just overall the podcast format and who's been involved. We've had a couple different teams and even solo, Brian Sullivan way back in the day. How was the format pitched to you, and did you have influence on it?
Not really. I just said, sure.
Dang, agreeable. Okay.
I know. No, it just was, they just said that they were going to bring it back, and Grant's background is 100% the man for the job. So he's just taking it over, and we want to keep just like the straight facts, and hoping that I'll be at a lot of the events, and he might be there as well for the PDGA. So we may do some live stuff at the big events, but mostly just little talk once a week, and just kind of on what's going on in the PDGA or with the golf tournaments once they start up, and just having guests on that possibly other shows don't have, just bringing in different people and talking to them about disc golf.
Now, it's got to be a really fine line, and we talk about it here. Believe it or not, there's almost planning within Smashbox of Johnny and I, kind of. But there's a fine line of what the PDGA's radio or podcast should dip their, not necessarily should, but could dip their toes into. Because like us, we're pretty lighthearted, but will talk to anybody and everybody on a whole bunch of different things.
This is Terry. Terry likes to stir the
No, sometimes we stir the pot, but that's not what we set out to do. Sometimes it just inherently happens. But, some days we're talking to people about the most obscure things that have nothing to do with disc golf.
Right.
How do you guys, where's that balance? How are you guys... Yeah, how are you guys going to I even think about specific players.
So they're not going to talk to Natalie Ryan about parkour?
Yeah.
or being a locksmith? I don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
He kind of keeps it scripted for us. So it's very planned. I wouldn't say very planned, but it's planned and organized. And, we had Drew on. Drew was not always, but usually crashes here when he's in town for tournaments. So we brought him on. He wanted to not really talk about golf with him. And had such an incredible year, but more something different. Like he's starting to design discs. So we just kind of chatted with him about that yesterday morning. And that's kind of it. We go over the news, like a few news topics that maybe like the PDGA approved of this or didn't or whatnot. And that's it. It's pretty short and sweet. Not too gossipy at all.
But I'm going to go back to that same question, though. It's just a fine line because the PDGA is our governing body. And clearly, if we play favorites, which we do sometimes, if we play favorites, people can accuse us of that, and that's on us. But if the PDGA plays favorites or appears to be, which is going to be quite subjective anyway, but if they appear to be, somebody could feel displaced or disenfranchised or frustrated or whatever. So it's interesting. And you guys also had Kona, I think, recently, right?
Yeah.
And so
absolutely.
I guess I'm just gonna say it. I don't envy trying to stay in a really tight lane because I think there's a lot of
There's always going to be people that probably complain or whatever, but we're definitely going to be more like news, versus talk show. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to be very fair, not get into any bad, crazy stuff that will rumor or whatever. We're not going to do any rumors. It'll be facts and facts only.
Okay. Well, yeah, I of course, we wish you the best. And I feel like I've said this before, and as has Johnny, right now in disc golf, there are so many different ways you could take a talk show or a podcast or whether it's a solo or a round table or whatever. There's so many different formats and then so many different opinions and ways to satiate viewers with different just avenues. And like you said, if you want to keep it pretty much to the facts and then, do some reporting in that way. Do you guys have like a rough time frame that you're going to be trying to hit a time table?
45-ish minutes.
Okay.
Imagine
we're going to leave all of the good, details to you. We're not taking your job at all.
We're not.
You're going to be the late night, like Jimmy Fallon. And I'm going to be like, not even Oprah. I'm going to be like the news, like Good Morning America. We're going to be Good Morning America.
Okay. But then you're going to have friends on and talk about specific. Okay.
People that, we clearly brought on Kona just because she was, what a huge announcement. But we didn't just want to talk about that. Sure. Drew's disc was just about to drop. It actually dropped this morning or was approved, not dropped, approved by the PDGA this morning. So we're going to try to get people that something just happened or happening with them or whatever. And then other, manufacturers or school teachers or whatever, doctors, whatever.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Of course, I love it.
There's enough, as I was saying on the board, there's enough podcasts out right now to talk about the tour and the pros.
Right.
And we, no offense to the PGA, we don't need another one from them. The fact that what you
exactly.
and what you guys are doing, obviously you have to talk about, big events and a little bit of results, but you don't need to follow everything. And to have another point of view on other subjects is awesome. And like I said, I'm a subscriber. Everybody go out and subscribe to PDGA Radio because it's well worth it.
And Todd Lyon is out on the board saying that that Smashbox is still the official podcast of the PDGA. That's weird.
Yeah. Well,
all right, whatever you say, Todd. We'll take it.
It's his favorite.
You're newer to it. You're 3-4 episodes in? Is that about 3? Yeah. Are you at all nervous or worried? I guess you guys have the luxury of editing. I was going to say, are you at all nervous or worried about saying anything you shouldn't? But you can always edit.
No,
that's no fun.
Everything.
That's no fun then. All right, that question doesn't even count. Yeah. No. Have you said anything?
I'm sure it's a
that
first
needed...
take. I'm sure he's not had to edit a single thing that's been all first takes for you. You're a pro.
We really have done pretty well. And that was with I've done the commentating just a couple of times, and it's the same thing. I'd never done commentating before, and so when we did it for Masters or the Tim Zielinski, I was like, okay, so what do I need to do? He's like, just watch golf. It's fine. Just talk. And I was like, okay. But it's one take wonders. I mean, whatever. It's what it is.
Okay. Well, then maybe that answers my question. Have you said anything that needed to be edited?
Not yet. It'll happen.
That's the right answer. Because now, again, for somebody who may not know, how long have you been involved in the sport?
22-ish years. Long time. Old. Long time.
Easy.
You're seasoned.
Easy.
Yeah.
We're right here. I mean, we're listening.
Going on 23 years. I took a few years off, but I started in 99. And it was really funny. Somebody posted a picture of 99 Am Worlds when we were all standing by the basket. Half of us had sports bras on, jean shorts, it was so funny. And it took someone forever to find, to guess which one I was. It was pretty comical. Even my son couldn't even guess which one I was. So that was cute.
Was it a picture of everybody? Because you could probably see Johnny V. His head was probably 3 feet above everyone else. We were there. We were there as well.
It was just the girls.
Oh, okay.
We were at Waterworks. I think we were at Waterworks when they took the picture.
Zoom in a little. Johnny was probably in the woods.
Been there.
Yeah, he was in the woods
you
creeping.
Never know.
That was 99. Those were different days for us.
Yeah.
I like to watch good golf. So that's all I can say, you know? And I know where it is.
And the outfits were definitely different then.
Oh, they were. Yeah, we have some pictures with Scott Stokely and bucket hats by Ryan Hornicle.
Yeah, a lot of square, baggy clothing. I saw pictures. I guess it depends on the side of the. Because I saw a picture someone had posted the other day from 99, 2000-ish, and every guy was wearing baggy jeans, baggy polo, and they just looked square. Every one of them, didn't matter what size they were. So those were the days.
Bring back.
I definitely played a round or two in jeans.
I think we all have. We all have.
So this year, with you being part-time or trying to be part-time at work, how do you divide up what you'll play, what you won't, what's a priority to you? And then the second part of that is, how crazy is it with registration and tournaments and women and just anyone getting into tournaments these days? How are you balancing all of that?
So it's still difficult for me to go all the way to the East Coast because even if I'm not working, I do still have 2 kids in school here. Mm-hmm. So I won't be on the road full time. I'll be flying to a lot of those places. We have a few. I actually have back-to-back majors a couple of times. So tournaments like that I will be gone for a couple of weeks. I will probably beg my daughter and pay her to come stay with the boys. But I'm trying to do all of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I did get in the exemption and got that tour card last second, and I'm very thankful that I did. Okay. But yeah, I'm really kind of still hesitant to even put out a schedule because you don't know what tournament you're going to get in. I know what I want in, but it is a little scary. And I had mentioned that I think our very first show on the PDGA was that, I kept seeing on my feed all these women like, I'm going to go on tour, blah, blah, blah. And it's how are we all going to do it? And so I was thinking about it prior to when it really happened. And then that just kind of all came out with the women, saying that they can't get in. We had 5 spots after everyone was signed up with the tour card for DDO. There was 5 spots that people could get in and then, it went to a wait list. So that's going to be scary. There's a lot of women who want to get out there and risk it and tour. And hopefully we'll get in. And if not, I'm sure we'll fill up all the A tier. So we're still going to grow the sport no matter what. I think there'll be a year or two of adapting and growing. We obviously can't fill a full tournament yet. So we're in that in between, for probably a year or two. So.
Yeah. What an interesting, problem that we're having now because of this growth. And for so many years, and I know others have said it, we're begging and pleading and doing everything we can to get more women into the sport. And there's still a large discrepancy. I'm not, fooling anybody here of men to women, but now we're seeing more and more women take that initiative, take that step, and take the plunge is maybe the best word. And now it's like we're so jam-packed. And I think that's going to be an ongoing question. And I'd love for you to chime in. How do we balance, our women's events and divisions? Do they need to be separate? Do they need to be, if they continue to grow, or should there be 50-50 at a tournament in terms of 50% men, 50% women? How do we balance this? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, it looks like I feel like we could fill like 60 FPO at most events. So hopefully they will at least kind of give us that opportunity to at least hit 60. And then if those don't feel closer, to the tournament, there's always a wait list in MPO. So give them to the guys, I guess, towards the end, but give us the opportunity to fill those spots. Because there's a lot of women out there who want to play right now. So I hope that the TDs will give us the opportunity to sign up. Maybe equal to the men or whatever, or maybe let us open up spots early and let us sign up a little bit earlier. I want to be treated equal. I don't want to be treated better than the men, but I hope that all the women have a fair opportunity to play these events like most of the top men do. And then that may take, every tournament that we play having multiple courses, that we can rotate through or whatnot. So I hope that we get to stay at all the same events, though. I don't want us splitting off. So
I don't think we're going to see a split for years and years to come. I don't think we're growing quite that fast. And I think just like you, there would be a lot of women's players. I don't want to just say FPO because it'd be multiple divisions probably that would fight back a little bit against that unless you could guarantee like same payouts and all these other things. Because I think if you end up splitting off the women's fields early on, it will probably get overlooked. I mean, we already know tends to be less spectators than the men's field. And we want to make sure that as we lift, we're lifting everybody at the same time. I've always said that I would love to see double the number of women's spots that you think you need. Give the women a couple extra days to sign up on that first wave. And you just have to know that if you're a woman interested in playing, you need to sign up right away, because with these big events, we can't wait weeks and weeks for them to fill up. It has to be, all right, this is your time. It's almost like the Goonies. This is your time. This is my place. You need to sign up, and then at that point, lock the divisions and say, awesome, everyone has it. Here are the one spots we have left for men, because we know we can only fit so many people on a course in a particular day, and that number is usually about 100. I want to say it's depending on the course, of course. Of course. Anywhere from 160 to 180 usually is what we're seeing, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
And again,
that's a lot.
In peak sunshine and everything else.
Exactly. In the middle of summer, and and that's not Northwood where these rounds take 5 hours. These are courses that can only max out at 4 hours. So because it's only fair, honestly, that the women have a chance to fill a division just like the men do.
Correct. And I think what's sad too is we're going to see definitely the big division between like major events, Disc Golf Pro Tours, the big spotlight events. And then that's going to be all of our touring pros, which is what we want. Right. But, there's a lot of inspiring pros or pros that are just ready to kind of get to that next level that will not be allowed at any of these events. And so I think that'll take some adjusting, and I hope they get out there and just dominate every other, A tier, B tier out there. But I definitely had a few women already kind of reach out and say like, gosh, how will I ever get into any of these tournaments? I'm 900 rated, So by the time it gets to them to sign up and ratings, they're gone. I mean, they were gone for the 940s.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we're getting to the point where you have to be a pro to play with the pros, and we're no longer, for these big events, we're no longer to the point where it's like, cool, if I sign up, maybe I get to play with Jen Allen, or I get to play with Paige Pierce. Sorry, that's not happening anymore.
I know. And it's
what we can hope is that the pros can, in their off weeks, hit some of the B tiers, the A tiers, and that's the place where you get the chance to maybe get on the same card as one of them, or because the Pro Tour is still pretty open as far as meeting the pros. You can shake hands and chat and this and that, and a lot of the FPO and MPO are very friendly towards spectators. But man, we got big fast.
So is that fair for some of the top players to go play some of those smaller events? Or should we leave those to the players who can't get into the big events?
That's a great question. I don't have a good answer. We saw we've seen some of the pros' schedules, and they're hitting some of the Silver Series. Ricky, I know, is hitting a few of them particularly because he hits everything. But is that fair? It is fair.
An MPO tournament with an MPO division offered, just like it's an FPO tournament. I feel it's perfectly fair.
I think so too. But should we do kind of the opposite of what we do at the Pro Tour events and make a ratings cap? Say, hey, guess what? You have to be 940 or below, or 930 and below to sign up first, and then we let the top pros in. It's just a thought. I don't think there's a right answer here yet.
I think eventually some of the lower tier events could maybe be like that, to save those. I mean, you're not going to call them AM events, but the Silver Series is still Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's still part of the tour, and that's kind of just filling in gaps between weekends. So those are still going to be, I feel like, kind of elite. Some of our favorite. There's so many great tournaments, we can't play them all, but Beaver State, Goat Hill, some of those tournaments I will always play Goat Hill if it's open. So, I mean,
it's like you have an advantage there.
Yeah, from one of the furthest throwing women, the furthest throwing woman in our game. Okay.
I mean, Own beat me there the last time I played. So it's a fair course. You got to get your upshots underneath the basket. Everyone has to throw an upshot there. Everyone does.
Yeah.
So
just some upshots are shorter than others for some people.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to be restricting Pro Tour events, even Silver Series, anytime soon for the top pros. But I don't know. I could see something like that happen for B tiers and C tiers.
I could too. Yeah. I mean, if it really gets to that next level, and it needs to be, like, we want, just like the PGA Tour, like you can't just go sign up to play on the PGA Tour. There's how many amazing golfers can't even qualify to play for, those events. So we're going to get there. It's just going to be awkward for a few years. It's
going to be amazing to watch when we do. Let's just say we have an even split of men and women. We'll say 72 and 72 on each side, because my dream divisions are 72 and end it. It makes rounds much quicker. But seeing some of the MPO that we know and love not be able to get in, like, sorry, you're 78. You're 83. Your
10-15 isn't good enough.
Or you're 10-20. Honestly, look at the numbers. Your 10-20 may not get into some of these events if you were to cut it at the top 72. It's going to be amazing, and it's going to be exciting, and there's going to be some hurt feelings.
But that's what's going to put us on ESPN.
It is.
Yep. So it's growing pains, and I think we'll all get there, and everyone wants to see the sport grow, and it's just, we're going to have to accept change.
In that vein, people talk about wanting more professionalism. They want to see the best of the best. Not just, there's been a criticism of our sport that literally somebody could sign up for the PDGA tomorrow and then be on a first round card with Ricky Wysocki next weekend at the right event. That could happen in theory. And we're getting away from all of that. Everything is getting stepped up and is getting more professional. And like you said, there's some growing pains, but it's also just a dose of reality. We're no longer, it's not just feels and vibes. And even if it is remain family oriented and feels and vibes, there's just too much family. So we don't all fit on the same course at the same weekend. And there's a lot of people, like you said, that have hurt feelings and or frustrations, but unfortunately, the numbers are the numbers right now, and you're just gonna have to work your way into earning more of those positions. I mean, yeah,
right. And
more earnings got to happen.
Maybe go into a second level tour.
Sure.
Like we have the elite of the elite, and here's another amazing tour that you're gonna win thousands of dollars playing too, and great athletes. And you'll move up if you win at that level.
And that kind of segues right into maybe a frustration pinch point rant I, as recently as last week, had. A lot of the people that are frustrated are also some of our age protected divisions, of which you, me, Johnny all qualify for. So there's our disclaimer. Yep. We qualify for those, but a lot of people also feel as if the spotlight isn't then bright enough on some of these age-protected divisions. Do you feel that's the case? But then B, is that also part of where we're going with this? That there's our top-tier divisions, and then there's kind of everyone else, regardless of age? Like, how do you feel personally? I don't want to say offended. Do you feel oppressed by this? Do you feel like this is the case for you, that age protected isn't glorified or exalted or put spotlight on?
I don't feel it yet. Just because I'm playing both, I think, so much. I mainly only played the majors last year in Masters division, so I don't feel it much. And I had the time of my life at the majors that I played in the Master division, so I don't feel like we were shortchanged there. The camaraderie and the family at those Master events are so great that, to me, I didn't feel shortchanged. But hopefully we will grow and get the media and everything at all of our events as well, but it's like any other sport. The PGA, Masters don't get the same attention as the top pros. So it's the same in every sport. But hopefully we will continue, because look how many incredible master golfers we have, some and we're about to have even more. There's several more that are about to, roll over that or hit that 40. So I hope we continue to grow at the same time. I was teasing Jeff with the LVC that, like, can we just get to Japan's level to where I can, I actually paid. I was just signed up. I just got my refund back for Masters division, but I want to be able to pay both and let my score just go. And we should be able to play both divisions.
Okay. You want to do some double dipping. Yeah. That doesn't sound as appealing to a lot of other non-dominating players. You know that, right? But okay.
I don't think I'd want to pay for two divisions. Yeah, I get beaten both then. Great.
Johnny, I got a guaranteed way Johnny can lose twice as much money every weekend.
Yes.
But yeah, it's sad. I do want to play. We have some amazing master tournaments, and I'd love to play both, but I do want to focus, at least this year, on the FBO. So but hopefully all the kinks will get worked out by next year, when I probably will play more Masters.
Okay. Well, it's going to be a question that, there's no right or wrong answer, and I don't think it's going to get solved overnight. And
no,
we say it all the time. We love all of those people that you've referenced or are thinking about, as do I. But that spotlight will probably never be as bright on them anymore. No. Their time in the spotlight was once there. Maybe it wasn't as bright as they wished it would have been, but that's also part of being a pioneer in a sport or in any industry. And
right. Which is why a lot of us are still playing the open division. Look at Scott Stokely. He is doing everything he can to go out and give it another shot. And I can't wait. I'm so excited to see how he does there. But we know that that's where it's at. You get sponsors by playing open. They don't. It's a more important field.
Yeah, if he gets into a field, I guarantee you we're going to see him on a feature card.
Oh yeah.
I am so excited. Yeah. Have you seen his transformation?
Yes.
I haven't seen the actual video yet. I've just seen the side by side, and he's 7 years older than us. 8 years older than us, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's inspirational.
Very much so.
It is very inspirational. Yeah, very much so. It makes me want to find more time to work out.
I know I'm a little worse off than he was at his beginning, but I look, I'm like, well, if I could get to where he started, I mean, that wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, it's he's certainly, and he's always been a showman and an entertainer, and then a solid golfer on top of it, and a great human. So yeah, he's going to be a very fun story to watch here in 2022. What else is jumping out at you? I'm sure you're paying a little bit more attention just overall to storylines and people and things and whatnot, especially wearing that PDGA Radio hat. But what are some of the other things that are kind of on your radar that you're, might see unfold here in 2022?
I would love to see more sponsors come in. I saw, I will totally say her name wrong, but one of I think she's from Finland or somewhere over there. She's playing the LVC. I could pull it up super fast, but I just saw glancing when I was sitting here waiting on you that she just got picked or signed by Nike.
What?
So yeah, research.
Awesome.
It's not Chris. It starts with a K and the last name starts with a T. I feel so
Kristen
bad.
Tatar?
I'm so bad when. No.
No. That's an easy one.
I'm going to help you out.
No.
Okay.
No. Blonde hair. I'm super excited to meet her. She's on Latitude as well.
Katie?
It's a short name. It's a short K name.
Okay. Yeah.
I could look really quick, but yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm excited to see as this grows how many big sponsors we can get.
Yeah,
that's one thing.
Where, and I know this isn't the hat you wear, but maybe it is of other people you talk to at the PDGA. How much of a concern is that for the PDGA? Because a lot of people will just by default be like, hey, the PDGA should be doing this. They say that about a million things, by the way. But getting outside sponsors, big marketing, and big sponsors do you feel like that's one of the initiatives or something that we see somebody working exclusively on at the PDGA? That's not in Grant's ballpark, is it?
I don't think so.
Hayden? No?
No,
Okay.
no, I have no clue. But remember, I'm not an employee of the PDGA, so
I know, but I'm going to treat you like you are.
No, I feel like it's a lot of our responsibility. Like I have a couple of companies that am reaching out to hopefully maybe pick up a sponsorship. It's products I've used forever and they're not in the sport. So I think as some of us athletes, we want to grow the sport and we need to show them that we are true athletes. This is a big sport. It is growing. We have the views, and maybe we can just pick up some of these other new companies that have never even looked at disc golf before. So I feel like it's partially us. I mean, I feel like we have a big responsibility in that.
Well, we're kind of like
you want to use the product.
Yeah. Well, so that I think is a great point. And then in addition to that, it's no longer, it shouldn't feel like a cold call. And maybe for the reason you just said, we're users of the product. We have this great demographic. We're very passionate about the products and the things that we use, especially the more helpful they are to us out on the road or on the tour or whatever. So it's, you have that warm connection already. It only makes sense when, something like Sport Sack. I was trying to think of their exact name. They were making rosin type bags for bowling and for rock climbing. So it was just so obvious and natural for a company like them who had really nothing to do with disc golf to have that crossover because their product was already applicable.
Right.
And I just feel like, those are great ways. And it's like a warm handshake already that's weird. A warm handoff. I don't know.
Either of those sound gross.
So anyways, Zuko is another one. Zuka had an
sure.
incredible cart.
Yeah.
I used Zuka's medical cart for years.
Okay.
And it worked amazing.
Why didn't you think to put disc in it and carry it around? Come on.
No.
You missed out on that.
No. They had already made the disc golf.
Oh, okay.
So, but no, I've been using their stuff for years. That's outside of disc golf. So
sure,
they make a fantastic product. So, hopefully a lot more companies will cross over when they see that there's room for us.
Yeah. I was talking with someone, we moved into a new house a few months ago, and one of the previous owners was only a few blocks away. They came by and introduced themselves. We had them over for dinner, and they just started a business converting vans. And I showed them, I said, oh, that's very popular in our sport. And they literally have started their business. He used to work at Harley. He started the business back in February or March. It's called Drive Orion. I showed him some of the pros, like, oh, this is what they're doing on their own. His eyes lit up, and he's like, that's a market. And I'll say this: they are very high end. They, we're talking like the beds in their vans that will like elevate with remote controls to move up and down and things like that. Like they're doing some kick-ass vans. But I showed him, I said, hey, this is really cool. And he's like, this is the type of market we need to get into. And so, it's things like that our sport is going to be starting to attract.
Right. I actually reached out to a RV dealership that back in Oklahoma, which we got our RV from. And because there's there's a lot of, people coming over from Europe and stuff. And so we have 3 guys on our Innova team coming over, and they were looking for an RV to rent for 3 months. And I was like, let me reach out and just see. And she said that there's, some logistics. I think it's like our Cruise RV USA or whatever. It has like a rental, like everyone has to go by or something. But I told her, I was like, you guys could literally start a great market with disc golfers. I mean, there's so many going to be touring. Rent them, sell them, like hook these guys up. So you're going to sell a few RVs. So there's definitely a lot of companies out there that could branch into us.
Yeah, and I guess this all kind of follows into the next big thing that we're seeing as these crazy's maybe not even the right word, these large scale contracts and signing bonuses, multiple year deals, Bitcoin, multi-million-dollar contracts and whatnot. Again, you're from our generation of
little
getting
after
into
us.
golf.
Let's be nice to her. A
couple of years.
Not much.
I'm
Not
10,000. Johnny's in the 14,000s. You're 15,000 and something, right? 683 or something.
Close.
What do you make of all that? I mean, because you've been there. Obviously, not as long as say Alan Risley out on the board, but you've been there for quite a while. What do you make of where we are now?
I think it's incredible. And that's why you're seeing Des, myself, Elaine, Juliana, all of us coming back like, whoa. We went in on this. Like, hold on. So because it is exciting for us, I think, to finally see what we dreamed of this sport being, so it's incredible. And I think it doesn't, like, even if it's just 1 or 2 huge contracts, that's just another step in the right direction. And so I'm excited I was so excited for Kona. I'm sad she left our team, but I'm just as happy, that she just took us to another level. That's one more female making a stand and taking us to a higher level. So I'm super stoked.
Do people, of course, you're wise and full of knowledge, and you have a long history in the game. So I was going to say men or women, but I would think more likely, maybe as a mentor almost, do women and aspiring players come ask you questions about their careers, where they're going, what they're doing, insight that you have? Do you volunteer any of that? What are your conversations like with some of our newer players? A Haley King who just, and a Callie McMorrin who just like came out of nowhere, and now they're very much superstars in our game.
Well, they jumped in, I think, at just the right time. And I think we'll continue to see so many more amazing kids that get get good so fast. Like they're going to jump to, that goes back to the tournaments. What are we going to do with all these players? Because I really feel like we're going to have some incredible superstars that are coming up, just like, Haley's 19 years old. She's going to be around this game for a long time. But I think a few years back, that question's totally different. Being on tour is very hard, besides mentally, physically, but financially, And so, but I think we're getting very close to changing that to where you can say, you know what, you're going to be able to get paid this amount. It's pretty fair equivalent to like if you had a salary with a full-time job for a lot of us. So it hopefully will get easier to say, yeah, good luck on tour. You're going to, do great. It's not going to be scary at all. But back in the day, that's a huge risk. I mean, you had to have a lot saved up to just risk it and go on tour. So I think that'll change. I do.
What were your conversations, if any, like with Juliana this year, in the sense that, she kind of had that, she didn't necessarily leap away from her job. It sounded like, things were coming to an end there, and she was at a crossroads, so she then could make the new decision. But what do you make of her return, and what is that story that can be shared? What can we take away from that, I guess, is maybe the best question. Her and her return.
I just think it shows that this game can still be played at such a high level by any age. It's inspiring, just like Scott looking like he's 35 again. It's inspiring. And so I think it's going to be awesome. And I hope all of us, Elaine, Des, Juliana can all just hang right in there with these young girls, but then still be able to go play our Masters events and have a great time at those too. So I just think it's inspiring, and I'm glad she got the opportunity to do that. I don't know if it was right at COVID, so I don't know if COVID had anything to do with that. But the timing was great, and she took a leap of faith and capitalized on it. And that's awesome.
Well, what do you have for a prediction? 2022, any bold predictions? I know I asked you about keeping, thinking about a storyline, but any bold predictions, things maybe somebody wouldn't call and think, oh yeah, this is going to happen. Do you have anything that's outside the box this year? And it may be related to results or a specific player or something, on the fringe of our sport. Any bold predictions for this year?
I think we'll have 2 new world champions.
Like never been before crowned world champions.
Well, sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I can.
Are they European? Because then I lose money.
I'm just.
No, literally.
I still have a bet with Chris Finn from over at Dude in Australia. Yeah. We had a 3-year bet that he said somebody international would win. Somebody from outside the U.S. would win Worlds in 3 years. This would be the 3rd and final year. We, of course, had the COVID extension. And so we have a wager placed on it. I'm not saying if I have to scream during a final putt, I won't. But so you're saying, though, you think we're going to see some new world champs.
I do. And I will go back to that real quick. I feel like Chris is going to hold you to that. And I hope, I kind of hope you lose.
Terry actually has to fly to Australia to hand him the money, which is really the rough part.
As long as I get,
I'll go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's just go for a tournament. I'll work and get contracted for a tournament. So I'll gladly, if I lose the bet, I will gladly pay over the money.
Well, and the interesting part about that prediction is in MPO we could see there's a lot of U.S. players that people would pick over any. Overseas, but in the FPO field, Holcomb already has one. Obviously, Paige and Kat already have them. I don't want to pigeonhole anybody, but U.S. players, Haley is kind of the one player that everyone would probably pick from the U.S., and then you have the 3, big hitters from overseas. That those would be one of the 3 that you would see probably pick up a win.
You got Missy, you got Jen here. I don't know.
I'm saying what people would pick. I would pick.
Getting so good. Yeah. The talent's getting so good. I think it's going to be a battle. Like I think the options there's more than a few that could win this. So that'll be exciting.
I agree.
And then we're going to go to Australia and pay off your bet.
That if I lose the bet, and I have to go to Australia to maybe cover like the Australian Championships again. Yes, Luke, I'm looking at you over there, and Kinga. I that would be more than fine with me. Then I could maybe win a didgeridoo.
Yes, didgeridoo. I still can't play it. I didn't know how. I couldn't. I never learned.
Who could
to play it?
Come on.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. Several. Who was really good at it? There was a couple of people that ended up being good at it.
Well, Philo's probably good at it. Yeah, I mean, Philo can play every instrument, I feel like.
He can.
I just found some footage of him in Thailand when he sat down with a group that was playing in a band, and then he just sits down and starts drumming away, and then he's singing, and then he's playing some other instrument I've never seen. I mean, that's Philo for you, right?
I mean, if it's an instrument you've never seen, does it really know? Do you know if he's playing it well or not?
I'm going to trust that he
sounded good.
Yeah. Right. And then as we start to wrap up, one of the things I said in the intro, we spoke briefly at the PLO a few months ago. Thailand, that's a place you want to get to. Anywhere else on your bucket list? You obviously speak highly of Australia, and I know you'd love to return there. But what's on your bucket list for places to go play yet?
I'd like to also, once I get back to Australia, go on down to New Zealand because I always had to come straight back to work and never got to go down there. So I'd love to go to New Zealand. I was very, very stoked to go to Japan. So I'm on that short list. As soon as they say we can go, I'm ready for that. And just to get over to Europe. And then I want to go hang out with my girls, Evelina and Henna over in Finland. I want to play those courses. So pretty much anywhere.
Okay. All right. So you're good to go anywhere, and it sounds like a lot of the staples in the disc golf community, which make perfect sense. Let's just play pretend, and I'll be even a little gloomy for a moment and say no one goes anywhere in 2022. Let's just say that happens.
I know.
I know. Hey, I'm not going to Thailand in 2 weeks. So let's play pretend and say it doesn't happen. 2023, you can go one place for an international tournament. Where's that one place you for sure will pick and would go to? What's on top of that list?
Hard. I almost just spit out Australia because we had so much fun there, and we have so many friends over there already that I love, and I want to go back and see. But I would also, I think, say Finland just because I haven't been.
Okay.
So, but those are definitely my two, and then Japan's right underneath.
Yeah, I'll go find some of my ancestors.
Yeah.
Not in Finland.
In Japan?
No. Not in Japan. I'd have to go way back probably for that or something. No, Finland.
I didn't know if you'd seen a mirror lately.
We don't have any in the new house. I just, we're going to go that. No.
Okay. Yes, Norway, Sweden, obviously all great disc golf destinations.
If we get to go overseas, we should do a 23andMe before that.
Oh, I was adopted, so
I know.
I'm gonna go on a worldwide.
They probably don't want you either.
I'm gonna go on a worldwide hunt. Damn it, I'm gonna find them. Oh my gosh. Anyway, all right, John. Enough of this nonsense. Do you have anything else that you want to share with us? I mean, you're a little restricted over there on another news network, so let it loose. Anything else you want to share with us before we let you go tonight?
Yeah, Grant can't edit you here.
Yeah,
I know. That's why I have to be good. Terry's always trying to get drama. No, I never have any for you. You always ask me, and I'm like, eh.
No, I'm not asking just for drama. I just said anything in general. I mean, it could be good news. It could be big, huge developments. It could be partnerships. It could be, your kids all just got 5.0s. I don't know. I mean, I'm asking for anything, not just drama.
Nope. I'm just excited for the year. I'm ready to get my game back to where I know it is. And I'm also, next week, I am teaching all 25 school teachers in Gilbert again. Okay. I've done that for a couple of years. So I look forward to also in between tournaments, getting back in the school system. So hopefully COVID allows that to continue. And just getting out there. I'm excited also to be out there as our women's Innova team captain, to be at a lot more events. And I think we have an incredible team. So I'm super stoked to be able to get out there, not only and play, but to support our entire team and see what we can do. I think we're strong, and I think it's going to be a great year.
I like it. What I have to quickly ask, what does being the captain exactly mean?
I'm the cheerleader mom. That's it.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
and you rank above Nate Sexton. Is he the MPO side, or are you the entire team?
Oh no, she definitely ranks above Sexton.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm picking a cheerleader, it's you over Sexton. all day.
I think I picture Sexton personally.
No, wow.
All right, so maybe that says something about me, but
my kids called Sexton the commish. He's the commissioner.
Okay.
So he's the commish. I'm more the mom cheerleader.
So I'm looking at that poster behind you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's my only art I hung.
Does that say 566, 568?
568.5.
Can you beat that?
I'm old now.
Oh, that was only what, 5 years ago?
5 years ago. Yeah. Yep.
I will say, Terry, I don't. Was it the last round? It was the last round. Have you watched your footage?
I have not yet. I will be editing it tomorrow.
Because I think like we're not seeing the Big D in the desert. We haven't seen it for a few years. And I was just thinking, there's almost no point for a male player to go out anymore because I don't think you're ever going to see those conditions.
Right.
But
I'm just going to plug real quick. I'm going to plug that people, there's so much crap talk about the wind that day. 95% of those shots were horrible because the wind was so strong. So what he did and accomplished was still incredible.
Correct.
So I hate that there's that asterisk because
he threw an amazing shot, and you have to have so much skill to be able to throw in that wind to be able to control it in general. Clearly, the wind. There's no doubt that the wind helped him out. But my question is,
for sure,
that I see that the women's number as a number that's reachable in the future.
Yeah, I think so too. I used to think that I could. I wanted to hit 600.
Okay.
That was my goal. I broke that the very first throw. And then it was just partying after that. No, I'm just kidding.
So do you with a year of training, do you think you could get close to it? You could try to beat that?
Do better, Jen.
Maybe.
No, that's
Maybe.
not what I'm saying.
600.
I do too. What I was going to tell you, Terry, is I think the last round is when I threw hole 6 past the basket in 2 shots. It was kind of silly and it was really windy, so I just laid up like I didn't even attempt that putt because I could drop in 4 by laying up I think it was like 25 feet, but it was breezy. So I was like, man, I would kick myself in the face literally on film if I would have like hit the top of the basket, flew off, and got a bogey when I passed that basket in 2 throws. They were 2 of the farthest throws that I've thrown on that course. I was throwing this really far.
Okay, and that's obviously phenomenal. So I'd be curious.
I told Drew, and Drew was impressed. So it was good. If Drew was impressed, it was good.
If you have to pick, let's say you can't break that. Say we don't see Big D in the desert for another few years. What player on tour right now do you think would have a chance at that?
Well, Paige beats me at Worlds every year, so I would say Paige.
Okay.
But I haven't seen Natalie throw, so I don't know.
Okay.
But Paige and I have always, there was one year, where was it? Pittsburgh, like they had to like measure us a couple of times. Like we're always battling right there. And I personally I feel like I throw further on the course than I do in the distance competitions. I don't know. I just,
different
I don't
pressures?
think I really got, I think I tried too much for the angles. Like when we were out in the desert, like the angles were huge. Like you had to really kind of play the air there differently. When we're at Worlds, it's usually humid, there's not wind, and I should just be throwing it straight, and I'm like overthinking it and trying to get some crazy angles like we did in the desert, and it always fails.
Well, and that's kind of goes into my question. Like, do you think, obviously Paige is a phenomenal thrower, but there are players who are better golf throwers than there are distance throwers. And
correct.
I'm sure Paige could adjust to be a distance thrower, but it would take some talent. I didn't know if you had seen anybody on the course or in the field that would be like, oh, wow, they would be a very good distance thrower based on how they approach a disc or how they approach a drive or anything like that. So, but you think it would be Paige?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
We've battled for way too many years.
Okay.
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone who can throw with a ton of power. I don't know if I've ever seen Paige throw a giant Anheuser in my life.
Really?
Yeah. You're just not watching the right golf then.
Well, no, in general, because she tends to release things with hyzer and big flip, and then I don't see a ton of turnover with her. Like she's a power thrower by no question, but
right.
I'm just curious. I'm trying to think of someone who I see on tour that has that. Did you throw a 360 for that or no?
Mm-mm.
No. I don't know of any women on tour that do throw 360s.
Commonly, Kona does.
Yeah,
Kona does.
Yeah, I threw one, but the first throw was my further throw. I think it was I saved that for my 5th throw each time. I did like 4 regular and then 1 360.
I think back to someone who takes it very seriously, and she seems to really get into things, and now is playing more as Holland Hanley.
Yes.
And
that was going to be the one I was saying.
And
I was going to say Holland.
I don't know if all of her, her form is exactly there, and if that's even something she's focusing on as like a distance record as opposed to a controlled golf shot right now. But she's someone that I think has the mentality for it as well, of like, hey,
And
I'm
the
going to go
power.
out for the
She was a
next 6 months,
powerlifter
and I'm going to, I'm really going to try and, set this record. Hannah, Evelina, not necessarily you think are contenders, huh? For a distance.
I mean, they're both strong. I mean, gosh, Henna can throw a rock forever.
Yeah.
I can remember a few of those courses, Fountain Hills or whatever, and she's like, I threw my rock, and I was like, wow. So I mean, she can definitely crush a frisbee. And I remember at Jonesboro, the first time I ever saw her throw, she was ripping a disc. So she can clearly throw very far, and Evelina has tons of power. So I don't know if they could throw 600. But they definitely, and there's a lot of, Europeans I haven't seen throw. So
for sure. And also, as asked on the board, you were throwing wraiths that day, correct? And was it 168 or was it 175? I don't.
No.
Did you go lightweight?
It was lighter. It was
Okay.
lighter. And I actually, they just kind of brought us out a bunch of like X out stamp, like just extra. I'd never thrown. That wasn't my disc.
Well.
They just brought out a bunch from the factory. They had sent me some lightweight bosses that I was trying, and I ended up just grabbing the wraith, and it just caught the perfect huge S and just carried. The distance shot, you always want to finish to the right, and that's why it's easy out there in the desert. There's no, it's like endless land that you can just crank and just let it glide. There's really no out of bounds. Where at Worlds, we're always so limited at Worlds. And I think that's another reason that makes it a little different. We have the one pin that you can rotate, your line, even if the wind shifts or changes, as long as the one initial pin stays in its place, I can take that other and put my angle of release at any point. So you definitely play the wind with the shots. You get a high release on the angle to get the wind underneath the plate, and then try to let it carry to the right as much as possible. And that's just not something you really do on the course much.
Yeah.
Very rarely. So,
which makes distance competition so much more fun when they're, held at the full, whiff diff, levels and whatnot. Quick side note and selfish question would be, are we going to see you here in Wisconsin for the U.S. Women's this year?
Yes.
Over in Madison, just about an hour west of us. Awesome. Okay.
Am I gonna
have you played here?
I say, am I gonna have to do up the studio to have some guests some night?
That would be
that would be a lot of fun.
Leave your PDGA hat at home. We're talking business here. No,
we're talking fun here. No business.
Yeah, that's better.
Do I get drinks? You serve drinks on your podcast?
Maybe.
What do you want?
Maybe.
I will have it available.
What have you played? You haven't played not in Madison. Have you played in Wisconsin?
No.
Never.
No,
there's
High
a
Bridge.
lot of places.
I was thinking High Bridge maybe, but no.
Not 07 Worlds. You weren't at that. So no. Wow. Okay. Well,
there's a lot of places I've still not played.
Okay. Well, it'll be exciting to have you here in Wisconsin for sure then.
There's definitely a couple that I'm really excited. And I told Kel this weekend, I am going to the Preserve. I've been wanting to play that forever, and work just got crazy. I think we had 2 therapists going out with COVID. I had planned initially even last year to try to make it to that and couldn't. And I may try to get over to MVP. I've never played there either. So there's definitely a few that I really want to try to get to this year. So
yeah, there's some bucket list courses, venues, events, all
in
that
the
you
US.
need to, in the US that you need to be checking off your list as well. And I think so many of us, because we've seen you be successful at a number of events, and we've seen you get more and more active throughout these past few years and setting a distance record, but then maybe not realizing that, as you say, you're not on tour full time. You're not playing week in and week out. You're logging 40 to 50 hours a week, and then rushing off, after your last shift just to get back in time for your next shift the next week.
Yeah.
You've been a weekend warrior, so it'll be great to see you more, and hopefully you're able to relax and soak more of that in this year.
I hope so. I feel like the 2 tournaments that I really did that this last year was I went 2 weeks off from U.S. Women's to Masters Cup. And even though I wasn't playing fantastic at U.S. Women's, I left a lot out there. I went over to De La and shredded probably better. I mean, I I would have won FPO if I would have played FPO. Like I played those courses better than I had in forever. And so, and I really contribute that to, I wasn't rushing back to work on Monday and then rushing right back to the next tournament. I had some time off. I got to relax. I got to focus and practice. And then I did the same thing right before Tim Zielinski. I went to see my mom, went down to the lake with friends, got to relax, got to spend time with family, and had a little bit extra time. So I hope that really carries over this year where I'm not, rushing back to work. So
yeah, there's something to be said about just being in that state of mind, knowing that hey, you're not trying to tap in your last putt to then hit that flight to then make sure that you're in the office by 6 a.m. Literally 14 hours later, and certainly that mentally has probably worn on you a little bit, even if it's in the back of your head. So
Beaver State was the only time I had to do that. Do you remember Beaver State? I was like freaking out. We had like 8 holes left. I was like, oh my God, cancel my flight. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, I know exactly how you feel. I've been there for a number of events where we're always just thinking about the timelines and where people really have to be. And sometimes you have a cameraman or you have a caddy or a player themselves. It's like, hey, I still punch a clock tomorrow morning. And it's like, yep. It's it all weighs on everybody. So, well, Jen, we wish you the best of luck. It was great seeing you. We'll see you in 10 days or so, not even. Maricopa action back down in Arizona. So, of course, looking forward to that. I know that I've got some coverage of you and the rest of the crew over the last couple of years, so looking forward to it down there. And best of luck.
The weather's nicer. Hopefully it's going to get up to the 70s, 80s.
It'll be just fine. 70, a little cloudy. I'll take it. All right.
Dang it. Okay, fine.
I'll take if I were to be there. 72, cloudy, no wind.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
No wind. No wind. There's a lot of OB at Maricopa.
There is, and they stretched it out even more. So looking
big
forward.
Time. We have a par 6.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
Par 6.
That's dumb.
Yeah. I agree.
I'll decide when I get there.
I don't mean to be blunt, but
that's
dumb.
It's I think we're old school. Like, it's traditional golf. There is no such thing as a par 6. I understand it. Like, I understand we need 6 to make it fair, but
I don't know if I agree
PGA
with
par 6s.
Low score wins at the end of the day.
Correct, 100%.
Terry.
It's just strange.
It is just weird. I'm with Johnny V. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, well, we don't have a bunch of women that throw 568 either, so you simmer down. Jeez. All right, Jen, seriously, it was great seeing you this weekend. Congratulations. Solid play.
Thank you.
Looking forward to more of it in a couple of weeks. Thanks for joining us.
If you're not a subscriber to PDGA Radio, please go to whatever local podcasts you have and sign up for Smashbox and then PDGA Radio.
Yes, do that in a second. In case your subscription count runs out. Just make sure you
We're on
check.
Twitter, Google. I think we hit them all finally.
Wow. You just don't get too big time on us. All right, Jen?
That's right.
I'll try not to.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks for joining us.
Jen.
Thanks.
Good night.
Guys.
All right. Jen Allen joining us tonight. Thank you so much.
She's kind of fun.
She's all right. I have to put up with her every time I go to Arizona.
I'm sorry.
I know.
No, we were chatting in the board about having the women in Madison this year, and it truly, I think it could be a lot of fun to have a bunch of women. It sounds so bad to have a bunch of women show up here to the studio to have a podcast, or we arrange something in Madison. So,
yes, it should be fun. Looking forward to it. I know Mike Batka and crew. A couple questions that weren't answered that one came in on the board. Going to ask Jen if she's going to be at the Champions Cup. I'm going to assume yes, but I don't know that for a fact, but I'm going to assume that she'll be there. And the other thing I was going to ask her personally is if she ever got her Frisbee back. She threw a Frisbee over the water.
No, well, clearly she didn't throw it over the water. It sounds like she threw it in the water.
Okay, yeah, by about 2 feet. And there was someone on the other side that she was trying to play catch with, possibly. And then she didn't see her Frisbee back. She's in our green room. Jen, just nod. Did you get your Frisbee back? No. All right. Well,
someone got a Jen Allen signed disc, and
it's I could probably find it on eBay. It's a pretty nice one.
How soon until we see fans going into water to get discs like that for players, like
kind of like baseballs over in San Francisco.
Yes, like where you got people like in the canoes there, the kayaks, just going through, watching and diving in the water. You know, we watch Ricky crush a disc into the water, and someone just goes diving in after it. Then the question is, do you give it back? Let's say you retrieve it. Do you give it back and hope whatever, or is that yours? Because in baseball and football, and in hockey, although it's tougher in hockey, the kind of standard is if it goes into the stands, it's theirs.
Yeah, but it's different because a baseball wasn't, so to speak, theirs.
Customs. It's not a
it wasn't theirs. Specific to a player. Yeah,
I mean, personally, I would love to see, you know, if a player throws a disc into a water and you retrieve it, you give it back to the player, but then the player gives you something, a signed disc or something along those lines.
A Bitcoin.
A Bitcoin. Yes, just hand them a Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, that's how it works, I think. Yes. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Is that where you just like bite a penny and hand it to
like
them?
a cold wallet or a hot pocket, whatever. They're all the same. In my book.
It's all
cold wallets and hot pockets.
It's all the same. Because in golf, if you hit somebody, you tend to sign a glove or something and hand it to them, and they get a souvenir along with a welt.
Yeah, exactly.
In disc golf, I think Ricky did something like that when he drilled the dude last year when he went over the top at I think he was in Texas
at a tournament, yeah,
and got the guy. I think Ricky did something for him, but it's anyway. I'll be curious. It'll be interesting to see how a lot of our culture and our standards change the more people we have coming out.
Yeah, and I think that goes hand in hand. Very right on point with what you're saying. There was a hole on the back nine where a gentleman on the lead card that we were filming threw an errant tee shot. It went out into the water on hole 15 out there at Vista del Camino along the par 4. It went way out into the water, and they said something about going and getting it. And he said, I don't ever want to see that disc again. So
I've said those exact same things. When you throw in the water and you've just had it with a specific disc because maybe it's not doing what you think, and you just think, someone's like, I'll go get that. I'll be like, if you get that, you keep it.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of plays into everything you were just saying about retrieval, whether it's warranted or not, whether they actually want that disc back or not. Or sometimes I may have seen some of our top players take a putter and fold it in half or rip it in half. I think I might have seen that. Those are great collectibles. I pick them up and run off with them.
There was a great video that resurfaced of Matty O a couple of years ago walking off. I forget the course, but just like throwing his putters in the water as he walked off the course, like just chucking them in the water. There's an epic story of Northwood's Barry Schultz, we'll politely say, littering the lake with his discs after a very bad round, and that was many, many, many years ago.
Yeah. Well, either way, great segue, 100% unintentionally and unknown to you, but Matty O was, in fact, down at the Bay County Kickoff this weekend, and I don't want to spoil it all for you simply because it was not only his first round with Westside Plastic, but it was all recorded. I sent my buddy Dustin down there. He worked with the club, and as our tournament was taking place at Shelly Sharpe, a few of the players on the lead card were taking a look at the results and seeing what was happening. Some stellar play that took place, and you probably didn't seek out the results, so that's why I don't want to spoil them for you yet. Wait till the coverage comes out, but you'll see there was some solid play.
What was the event?
That was the Bay County Kickoff. I believe that was their club-based event taking place down there in Florida. The same course that we just saw the Majet Monster Mash, and that coverage that was released on my channel. Okay. So look for that to come out. That was all shot this weekend thanks to my buddy Dustin and him working with Brent and the club. And then also, as soon as I get fully wrapped up, the very next video, besides the ones I released tonight, the next videos that are coming out for Shelly Sharpe will include the one and only Jen Allen, along with her other two card mates. So that is hopefully going to get out here in the next day or two. And then I'm going to give you guys all of the action that took place down at the Jubilee, which is pretty much edited, and we're working on some final commentary for that. So buckle up. I got a lot of footage. I know I keep telling you I've got 2021 footage, which I still have, but I also have now a bunch of 2022 footage that's just going to keep rolling out. I think I can release videos almost every day for the next week or two, and you guys will be hopefully at least mildly entertained.
You're the hero the disc golf community deserves.
No, but one of the questions that I asked this weekend in one of the videos for Shelly Sharpe, during one of the light backups that we had out there, saw that AB, Anthony Barella, along with Adam Hammis, were getting into a little mid-round snack, and that was, in fact, Jimmy John's. No big deal. Of course, I had to then say, hey, everyone is going to want to know if I'm going to show you eating your sandwich, what do you get? And he answered, and then that was the question that I posed. And as much as I wanted to know what everybody's preferences are, I said, what's your go-to sandwich shop was the question. Hundreds, maybe even thousands of people replied with their favorite sandwich shops.
Like the sandwich shop itself, not the sandwich.
Yeah, the sandwich shop. And, man, I got some new places to try out. There's some really well-liked establishments. I'm sure you could guess the top 3 to 5, though, that were responded. Go-to sandwich shops. I mean, that's how I posed it.
Based on... This is totally after-show stuff, but whatever. Based on the amount of restaurants, you'd have to assume like a Subway.
That was certainly in there.
Personally, I like Subway, but if there was a Subway and a Firehouse right next to each other, I'd take the Firehouse every day.
Oh, wow, you're
100%. But
you're new school now. Sellout.
Firehouse is good. I love me some Subway,
Firehouse.
But Firehouse is good. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously Jimmy John's.
Yep, that was very popular.
Mike's.
Yep. Jersey Mike's, maybe not surprising. I enjoy it. One of the most popular answers for sure was Jersey Mike's.
I think just based on, again, like the Subway, you base it on the amount of availability. So,
okay.
But no, I'm more interested in like
the actual sandwich.
That and. Not really, honestly, because usually I'm a pretty bland sandwich eater. If I'm going to go there, I'm probably going to get like either a meatball or a ham and cheese on wheat, some cheese, some green peppers, and maybe some Parmesan. Whatever. I mean, that's, maybe they'll throw some ranch, or if the place has it, some Caesar on it, because that's, yummy. But Anyway, no, I was going to say, I would rather go to more of a local sandwich shop that's highly recommended. So if you were at Fountain Hills and there was a place in that little mini mall right there on the course, and someone said this place has decent sandwiches, I would rather go there.
All right, last comment on the sandwiches. I had Silver Mine Sandwiches sub shop this weekend on the way to the course because I needed to get something for me and the cameraman, old Kyle, spicy boy, and it was phenomenal. So there's an official recommendation. Silver Mine. I then looked them up. Thought, I've got to find
sure
more
I'll see
of
it on
these.
their next commercial.
No, I was like, I got to find more of these. There's one in all of Arizona, and then they're primarily in Colorado and maybe Wyoming. So,
I think the first time I had a Jersey Mike's was in New York at one of the around downtown somewhere.
They are taking charge. All right, let's get back to a little disc golf here. Believe it or not, that
does happen.
That was a tangent of
exist.
Disc golf. But I hope you guys enjoy the coverage. It's all out there. It is all available. It was a great battle on the MPO side. Jen didn't want to make it a battle on the FPO side, but we did get the final round action from her, and I want to send a serious special shout out to Kyle, who I met at the PLO. We played a doubles round together, glow doubles, and we became not quite besties. I mean, I like him. We became buddies, and then he said he would really be interested in learning how to do a little bit of camera work and helping out, and sure enough, don't say that to me, because the very first day he showed up, he worked some catch cam out there at Shelly Sharpe, and then on Saturday, I said, hey, go out and get the chase card. He did that. Sunday, he went out and got the women's entire final round, and then he turned around and got the men's chase card. So huge shout out, Kyle. I really appreciate you, and hope we can work together more as part of the amazing experience that I had out there in Arizona. So looking forward to that.
And we had Jen, obviously, on a little bit earlier. She won by 9 strokes. We saw Anthony Barella take this down by a single stroke over Cale LaVisca, who shot a 13 under par you would think, wow, that's a phenomenal score. Wasn't even the best score of the day. We saw Jacob Curtis shoot a 14 under par that round, but Cale ended up almost coming back. He still lost by a single stroke, birdieing the last 5 holes in order to get right up there and put a little bit of pressure on AB. I know AB had a little bit of a putting issue on hole 1, is what I understand. He kind of 3 or 4 putted, and someone was like, he didn't draw a medal from 12 feet. And I was like, so he's still got a little AB in him.
Yeah, that was one of his hiccups for sure.
But honestly, after that, he just lit up the course. So
yeah.
If that's what you have to do to shoot a 1047, I'll 4-putt all day.
Yeah. It doesn't usually work out for normal folk that way.
I don't know.
Like you open up with a 3 or a 4-putt. You don't go on to shoot 1047 golf. That, believe it or not, is not.
See, maybe that's my
not
problem.
a recipe.
I've been doing that at the end of rounds.
Oh,
so
okay.
maybe if I
you don't have enough time.
If I did it at the beginning of the round, I would get it out of the way.
Just sit there and like 3 or 4 putt on the first hole, and they're like, "What the hell are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh, no. This is all part of the plan.
It's how we do it. It's how we do it, boys.
This is how I destroy the course."
Yeah. So anyway, Cale takes second place. Third place, Drew Gibson shooting a 23 under, losing to Anthony by 3 strokes. Nick Newton, 21 under. Jordan Castro, happy birthday, Jordan, by the way, one of our original Smashies, took 5th place. Like I said, Jacob Curtis tied with Cade, Philip Mahala, and Luke Sampson tied for 6th. Adam Hammis shoots a miserable final round. Again, I haven't watched the final round yet, but I've heard that he was not extremely excited to be there at one point. Understandable when you're having a bad round. He was in 9th place, and tied for 10th was Henry Manahan and Levi Hancock. So congratulations to our top 10 finishers in the MPO field.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and as you just said, Cale certainly made it a very interesting battle, and I tried to convey all of that within the footage that was out there, because we had some chase card check-ins. And
was he on the chase card?
He was on the chase card.
I didn't realize
him
that.
and Nick Newton made it a hell of a battle, actually, and so I was able to kind of splice in chase card check-in and kind of give you it almost like it was a live, feeling of seeing what was happening and back and forth, and it was probably one of my more exciting rounds to ever commentate on in terms of post-production, because I was getting amped up about the excitement of what was happening on the chase card, and so it was a great battle. And just for the records out there, and this might ring a bell to you, Jacob Curtis is AKA, that's Cupcake. From many years ago, he has very much grown up.
Yes.
He is a full-blown stud out there. And yeah,
you said it, not me.
That is Cupcake, and it was great seeing him. I've seen him at a couple of events, but he put together, and he was actually the talk of the lead card while we were playing. They're like, "Oh my God, like Cupcake's like 6 for 7, or he's 10 for 11, he's 13 out of 15."
For some of our newer viewers, Cupcake was a caddy for Paul Macbeth many years ago when he was, knee high to a grasshopper, something like that, very young. And I believe he got how did he get the nickname? Was he eating a cupcake or something?
I think he loves cupcakes. And then, yeah.
Either way, everyone calls him Cupcake now, for better or worse. I think he's just grown to love it. But not a shy golfer on his own board.
Played some really, really good golf and had the hottest round.
I do want to real quickly, obviously we had Jen Allen on. She crushed the field. She beat Callie by 9 strokes. So Jen was at 3 over, Callie 12 over, Owen 21 over in 3rd place, Jill Norwick at 27 over in 4th place. So congratulations to the top 4 women this weekend.
Yeah, and I think a number of them I will see in a couple weeks at the Maricopa event as well.
What weekend are you going there?
So like 10 days from now. So 2 weeks from now. I don't know. Less than 2 weeks.
Last week in January?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I mean, today's the 18th, so 10 days from now. I think I technically fly out on the 17th. And the likes, Hav, Amy Jo, two of disc golf's favorite people, originally from Grand Rapids, transplanted down to Maricopa. Yeah. Unbelievable time. Looking forward to that.
Anyone fun registered for that event?
Oh, yeah. There's some superstars, as you would expect.
There should be.
Yeah.
It's Arizona in the
We just mentioned Nick Newton. Adam Hammis is the 2-time defending champ. We're walking down hole 15. This was one of my favorite parts of the weekend. I don't know if it was 15 or 12. It was during a longer walk. We're walking down 12 to 13. and final round, and something or other was said about Maricopa, and AB, who signed up and is playing in it, turns to me and he says, yeah, when is that tournament? The camera guy who's got to come back in a couple of weeks. I said, it's in 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks from today, you'll be finished. And he's like, okay, yeah, sounds good. So yes, it's going to be a pretty good time for sure.
Yeah, I pulled up the registration. You got Hamas, Gibson, Turner, Barella, Clint Calvin, Aaron Gossage, Luke Sampson, Castro, Nick Newton again, Levi Hancock, Mike Sale, Danny Beauchamp. So a pretty solid field.
Yeah. Certainly a great group.
And of course, Open Women, we have our guests tonight, Jen Allen, Owen Scoggins, Lisa Safakis, Maria Oliva, Callie McMorrin, and Jill Norwick as well. Norwick, sorry.
Yeah, so lots of solid players on both sides.
Whoa. Am I?
Yeah, you're looking. You're looking at an Arizona registration, not a 1999 Sheboygan registration.
Tommy Bryan, who competed with Terry and I for many years.
Along with, right below him,
growing up, Lee Semke.
Yes, also from Sheboygan. So
Lee lives out in Arizona now. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and I was thinking, I'm like, well, could I swing getting out there for fun? Just maybe
I could put you to work.
I know. I wouldn't work hard. Let me put you that.
You never do.
Let me tell you that. So, no, I'll have to think about that. I've got some airline miles that need to be used up.
All right. So, I don't know if there's any other golf. We kind of touched on the Bay County. Like I said, we're going to release some footage for that. Excited to put that out there. Shelly Sharpe taking place this weekend. I don't know if there was anything. There was no other bigger events. There might have been B tiers and C tiers running around throughout the country, but
we'll let the PDGA Radio talk about
PDGA
that.
Radio can have those. I mean, who's got time for that?
We don't need to talk about that.
Even though these were B and C, or never mind. Anyway.
We have a little bit of PDGA news. I know we talk about it. The Diversity Outreach Program is going into its second year. I kind of breezed through the article a little bit, talking about how the amount of money that they've given, the amount of grants that they've given out to underserved areas. Awesome. If you guys fit into that criteria, take a look at the Diversity Outreach Program for the PDGA. I think they have they've got money burning a hole in their pocket, and if you've got a worthy cause, I think they have that. So, and as always, we need to talk about some discs that are being approved yesterday. It says 1 day ago. A lot of companies I've never heard of. Sunny Sporting Company released the Eagles putter and the Eagles mid-range and the Eagles driver. Okay. Castoplast. I've heard of them. The Reco X. This is my most favorite one. The Circle 2 disc from Cheap Discs is the name of the company, and in parentheses, Refuture Ventures AB. Don't exactly know what that is, but if you're calling yourself Cheap Discs, I better pick that thing up for $4.99, my friend. And it better hit every Circle 2 putt if it's called the Circle 2.
Heck yeah.
And then finally, we've got the Fly from Fourth Discs and the Era from Finish Line. So those are the discs that were released. There's other PDGA announcements. They're looking for some volunteers for the medical subcommittees and some support team stuff. So please, if you've got some spare cycles, by all means, reach out to the PDGA. They can always use some help.
All right. A few other things. I did reach out. I saw Katrina Allen this weekend. Of course, she's one of the main big names that's out there that has not announced her new sponsorship. I did reach out to her today. I said, rumor had it there would be an announcement today. She said, not so much. She said, very soon. I said, all right, just make it a Tuesday so we can talk to you.
So we're hoping to hear about it in 1 week.
So, but she said that the announcement would be made very soon is how she replied.
Week.
So
1 week, Kat.
We'll see how that shakes out, but good to see her and Austin were both out there hanging out, doing a little spectating this last weekend, so good to see them. And then in other signing news, what also transpired in the last week is we saw that announcement for MVP Disc has signed Madison Walker. So
it's a great signing.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly, I mean, you and I are both fans and friends of Madison.
Of MVP. Oh, yeah, Madison.
Madison, too. Right. No, I mean, Madison's okay, but MVP Steve, my boy.
Yeah.
and anyone that can sign Madison, they've got a really great team, good personalities. I think Madison will fit really well into that, quote-unquote, as everyone calls it, family or environment. it'll be nice to see Madison out on the road again, hopefully. So.
Yeah, and I know she's wearing a couple different hats, doing a few different things, but yeah, very much looking forward to her year and what's in store for her. Congratulations to the shift and the signing over there at MVP. So last year, largely sponsored, I believe it was Aria Dis and some of the stuff they were working on. We'll see if Aria continues to push forward with the things that they had in place, but it sounds like going a slightly different path than what they had from Madison and her path. So, again, best of luck to them.
The other announcement we saw, and someone's pointing it on the board, was Cynthia Ricciardi, who's been a DD signed player for a few years, is parting ways with DD. Many of you know that she is dating Kyle Klein for Discmania, so I think the rumors right now are, is she going to sign with Discmania and this and that?
I never thought of that.
Yeah, Terry. And here's what I'll say. This is my personal thought. I've said it before on the podcast. If you are a disc golf couple, split your sponsorships. Don't go with the same sponsor because it leaves you more options. Come on, people. You got to be thinking.
But it also makes things easier in a lot of ways.
It does make some
as
things
Hannah
easier.
and Nick Newton pointed out to me this weekend. Nick Newton recently, last year, I believe, picked up by Prodigy. Just recently, his fiancee Hannah picked up by Prodigy, and his exact words this weekend were, "It makes things so much easier."
I imagine you can, if you're going to be traveling a lot, it cuts down on the number of different discs you need to carry with you. But I don't know. I'm a big fan of hedging my bets.
Okay.
And I like the split series personally.
Well, speaking of,
because I want to see
that,
the parent in the stands with the different jersey, you know, the half Discmania, half whatever jersey that they wear. So ultimately, wherever Cynthia ends up, best of luck to her. So I'm sure we'll hear from that in the next couple weeks.
Well, also there was a post made by Jay Redding, and it kind of goes along with what you're saying. Just yesterday, he made a post saying that I know everyone has been awaiting the off-season nail biter of where Jay Yeti Redding might be heading. Wow, that's a mouthful. In 2022, perhaps it would be a surprise seeing that our girl Des took flight with another company after 20-plus year career as captain, multiple-time world champion, and Hall of Famer of the Innova Disc team. Thing is, we were told by more than 5 people this offseason, loyalty is a two-way street. Innova champion has treated us incredibly well over the years. We own a house, an RV, 2 cars, blah, blah, blah. Those are his words. And then he goes on to point it out, and then he also then says, this is all on the Facebook, so I'm going to scroll down a little. Goes on to say, meanwhile,
he's got a big yellow border. He's staying with Innova.
I know, but I feel this is a big story in the sense that, as he said, you've got a multiple-time world champion who is now moving on, and we had that announcement here with Mint and everything else. And then he goes on to say, I'm very proud to represent the largest and top manufacturer with Innova champion, trusty lineup, lots of wins, da-da-da-da. Innova is taking care of me, and I'm going to be staying with them, and you're going to continue to see the Yeti AVR. So,
and that was what I was going to say. It makes sense for Jay to stay. He has his own disc at Innova. So for him to leave, not only, sorry, Jay, not only at his age.
Oh, ouch, shots fired.
But.
Shots fired to Texas. Pow, pow, bang, bang.
All the way down to Texas from Wisconsin. I mean, he's not competing at the Pro Tour at the top level. It doesn't make sense for him to probably take another sponsorship. He's very comfortable with Innova. Innova treats him very well. They have a good relationship. He's got a disc. I've said it a couple different times that this is one way that manufacturers are kind of locking players into these sponsorships a little bit, is by creating these, and Jay's had this for a long time. You and I actually have some of the original R Pro Yeti AVRs, I believe, stuffed away. But this is a way manufacturers are locking players into these deals, is by creating these custom discs. If Ricky gets a 6 discs with dynamic discs and he leaves in 5 or 7, 8 years, those discs don't go with him. The names might, just like we saw with Discmania, but those molds are probably staying with DD, just like we saw with, like I said, with Discmania and Innova when they had to part ways. Suddenly, Innova's got 2 new discs that are out in the last couple weeks. And when I'm going to throw new in quotes because they're just the same molds that they've been using for the Discmania discs. So it is an extra factor to think about as a pro if you are going to create a custom disc with a manufacturer that can really, I don't say tie you down, but really solidify the relationship. Put a ring on it.
Oh, Beyonce. So, those are some of the news. I think we've covered all of them that at least crossed our desk. If there's more, we're more than happy to share them with the world. But seeing the signing with MVP for Madison, I'll say I think even took a few people by surprise. Not that you wouldn't have guessed that she was going there, but you didn't really know exactly where Madison is with her playing career. The year that she had last year and the year before was just really, when COVID hit, she really took a back seat to playing very intentionally. She wasn't comfortable with, some of the, conditions that were out there for her to be playing in. And so hopefully this means we're going to see her out there as a competitor more and more week in and week out. So congratulations to everybody. Hope all of your newfound sponsors and are going well, and I hope any doors that have closed gently behind you. Anything else in the world of news or disc golf here for the weekend?
I don't think so.
The week even at that moment?
I haven't heard much. I know Jen, I need to look into it a little bit more. Jen had mentioned how Drew Gibson's disc was, I don't know if it was submitted to the PDGA today or...
I thought it said it was approved.
Was it? Was that one of the ones?
Wasn't that, one of the two you were talking about by finish line?
Oh, is that
Fly in the Era?
Are those the two?
I believe so.
I didn't know.
I can't read. I just look at pictures.
I know. That's what Instagram's for.
Exactly.
I just look at the pictures. I don't read.
It's picture time. All right, guys. Well, with that, I think that's about all we have for the regular show tonight. Of course, we're going to have an after show, so stick around, believe it or not.
Well, Jen Allen stuck around. She's still in our green room.
Oh, wait.
Hi, Jen.
Oh, now we're going to... Things might get off the rails if we have to have we've never had...
The guests come back for the after show?
The guests come back for the after show after the regular show. I'm not making any promises here, but we are going to call it for the regular show. In the after show, we largely interact with you guys via any of the chat mechanisms. YouTube works great, sometimes on Facebook, wherever it might be. Paul Ulibarri's mom called me out. She said, hey, when I say hi to you on the chat, do you see that? And I'm like, I don't think I normally do. She said, well, I do it on Facebook. I said,
I see it here.
Johnny, it may pop up for Johnny. I'm usually checking the YouTube chat exclusively. Either way, reach out if you got a question, you want a topic for us to cover, you have something else in mind, reach out to us on one of the chat mechanisms. We'll bring it into the after show, and we can talk about it. I've got a movie to talk about. I actually got to watch a movie on the plane yesterday, so I know I get to talk about that in the after show. We want to thank Jen Allen for joining us. Congratulations to her, a very special guest. Glad to have her and excited to see what this new media role, along with anything else that crosses her path. Looking forward to her in 2022. Again, thanks for joining us. We love you, Arizona. For Johnny V. and Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, we'll be back with you in just a few minutes when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the Smashbox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashboxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast 386's After Show with cupcakes and sub sandwiches. That's what Mike out on the board said.
We should have cupcakes and stuff. I have neither of those in my house right now.
And I had a full dinner, so I don't want one now, but cupcakes and sandwiches do sound like a good
I could have a full dinner and still have a cupcake. There's always room for a cupcake.
All right. Well, we're going to touch on some after show topics. Holy cow, you guys are on top of it. Thank you for submitting. Luke Turnbull coming in from Australia. Lots of Australia conversation earlier tonight with Jen Allen, but he has given us a list. Holy cow, is there a comma in here too or no? After show topics. Whiff Diff virtual DG event on Disc Golf Valley. Is that a thing, or you want it to become a thing?
No, that is a thing. A week ago, the Whiff Diff introduced the 2022 Virtual Sport World Team Disc Golf Championship.
Rolls right off the tongue.
It really does. I actually listened. I don't know much about Whiff Diff, to be honest, but I did listen to a little bit about on one of the other podcasts talking about kind of this is the type of stuff that they have to do in order to keep moving, and it's COVID and this and that. So they are doing a Disc Golf Valley team challenge, I believe. So there's a bunch of information on the PDGA website. You can go out there and take a look, and you'll have all the information you need to have the virtual disc golf competition championship thingamabobber.
Okay.
So.
Obviously not necessarily my bag, so to speak, but sounds fun.
It's Disc Golf Valley was fun. It is fun. I play on occasion. I probably haven't played in a month or a month and a half. It's like any video game. It's a little bit discouraging when it is so far. Like, to me, this is a disc golf game, and it gets to be almost so far from real disc golf.
Oh, like, just because of options and...
well, I mean, it's the cool thing is you have 1,000 selections, but it feels like, oh, this person's walking up to a 130-footer, they're going to drain it every time.
Oh, sure.
Because you have the perfect shot and this and that. And so, to me, it was kind of like, I don't need, simulation realism, but to watch, for the most part, people drain a lot of those things. I feel like this... Like, thinking about this Whiff Diff thing, I'm like, is it going to be one big tide? Everyone's shooting 18 under or more than that? I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see. I did fall off of Disc Golf Valley a while ago.
Okay. And speaking of taking bogeys, apparently I'm being updated, and this is a tangent to our podcast, but I'm being updated that I had accidentally earlier tonight uploaded the front nine twice to the chase card coverage that I had put together. So I'm going to get that fixed. And in fact, I'm going to be able to do that in just a few moments. So, but yes, thank you.
Is that what you did when you rushed in here?
Yeah.
Like, crap, I need to upload
I had the
this.
front nine uploaded, and I said to you, like, I really wanted to get the back nine
That's
up.
one way to double up your views,
yeah,
jerk.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised actually that YouTube didn't catch it in some crazy way.
Yeah.
Usually it would catch you and warn you about that. So thank you for the people that updated me. I'm going to delete the second version of the front nine, even though it's the same thing, and get the back nine up for you right away. Anyway, that's a side note to that.
Alan Risley pointing out that AJ was on the Understable Minds podcast today talking about his new role with Dynamic Discs. He's stepping into the media role, or a media role, not the media role, but he's stepping into a media role where he'll be doing, I think, podcast stuff, video editing, just the whole gamut of media at Dynamic Discs. I didn't get a chance to fully listen to the podcast as it was live today. I stepped in just for a few moments, but AJ Risley moving to a different avenue in our sport right now.
So then I guess that begs a question. And since A, I didn't watch it, nor did Johnny, and you're right here for us, Alan, and you're his daddy. Does that mean we're not going to see AJ playing golf? Is that the foregone conclusion? Is that what we can draw from that? Was that flat out said one way or another?
Yeah,
and then where is he with his injury?
I don't know where he is with his injury. He had said, the portion that I caught had said that at the end of last year, because he got back on tour last year, he came home and his wrist was very, very sore, or still hurt, so to speak. I do believe that I hate to say it, but I think we've seen the end of AJ Risley's full-time tour status. I don't think he's going to stop playing. He'll probably still play some of the bigger events as they come around Kansas, but he's a media guy now. He will be, GBO, he'll probably be doing filming or editing or something like that. He may not play those type of events, as I think he's now moved to Emporia.
Okay.
So I think we've...
Well, helping with that move, Johnny V in the official swear jar, calling it the GBO, put $1 in it.
The
Dynamic Dis Open.
DDO, my bad. We got so good with MVP and and
just when we get it
Vibram
down,
and
they
Maple
change
Hill,
it.
But,
I know.
But now
I know.
But now I got to go with DDO. You're right.
Yeah. So, well, we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll get some details on all of that. Today I was in full blown edit mode, and so I didn't consume really anything outside, especially even outside new. Like Ray tells us, Microsoft, does he say, made a $70 billion purchase? With a B. I don't know that kind of money. $70 billion
I'm gonna get a portion of that.
Purchase of Activision and Blizzard, and that's because you have a Microsoft stock or Activision
stock.
Okay.
I had I've had it for 4 or 5 years. I think I bought it at about 50 a share way back when. I think I have 30 shares of Activision stock. And this morning, a good friend of ours who follows stocks very closely messaged me, and he's like, "Didn't you say you have some of this last time we talked?" Or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I got whatever. And I looked, and he's like, they've halted trading, and they're going to be offering 90 or 95 a share, which means that I will get, because right now I think it's at 65 a share. I will get the $90 a share for the 30 shares I have.
I expected you to have like 30,000 shares.
No, I ain't that kind of loaded. That's all part of it. It's all part
of. You
of.
should have 30,000 shares, man.
I could have 30,000 Dogecoin probably if I really wanted, but no. So I will. Like I said, I bought many years ago when it was half the price it was now. So it'll be whatever, and I'll just.
We getting rich?
No, I ain't getting rich off that.
Yeah, we are.
Well, you're not getting anything. Let me put it that way.
Damn it. We're a team here, Johnny.
Not with my investments, Terry Miller.
All right.
Also, I can be on Ricky's team.
Okay, so officially and unofficially coming in from Dust. I appreciate it from Dustin. Dustin, maybe tomorrow you and I can work on some commentary if my brain's working properly. He says, according to the interview, he moved to Kansas, still dealing with the arm injury, wasn't really recovering well, and felt he couldn't be where he wanted to be as a player. So that is the cliff notes of what was said on their podcast. You don't have to go listen to it all that other stuff now. We just gave it to you, all right? We just break it down for you guys. Because if there's one thing we are, it's precise, short, to the point right here on Smashbox.
Everyone's always said it.
Yes. Just for 4 hours they said it. So, as I have claimed before, that the times I usually get to consume or almost even for something non-disc golf related if I choose is on a flight to or back from a disc golf destination. And Netflix automatically downloads some stuff. Sometimes I unfortunately just trust the recommendations. Rarely do I go out and seek out stuff. But because I heard so much chatter about the movie, I decided to download it before boarding. Any guesses? It's a Netflix movie.
Yes, I have a guess.
Nope.
I think I'm right.
You probably are.
It's the one that's got the word "up" in the title. What, the Comet?
Yeah, Disney's Up.
No, not
Pixar's
Up. Not
Up 2.
Not the old one. Am I right?
Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up. That's what it is. Thank you. And that's the one that
is.
Good guess.
I mean, again, to be fair, it kind of dominated the Facebook. Facebook algorithms for a lot of people saying they watched it, do watch it, don't watch it, whatever. But it definitely dominated. I feel like that was maybe 2 weeks ago. Did it maybe come out about 2 weeks ago?
Something like that. And it's gotten mixed reviews. Some people really like it. Some people it's not for everybody's cup of tea, clearly. But I have not watched it personally. Yeah,
and somebody can, I don't know, you could correct me on this if you wish, but I'll still think I'm right. No. I feel like it's almost an updated version of Idiocracy. Not updated isn't quite the word. It's a slightly more, not slightly, it's a more politicized, updated version of Idiocracy. Maybe that's how I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay.
more.
Was it as funny as Idiocracy? Because I've heard the one complaint I've heard about it was they take a joke and they run it for 2 hours. Like, and they said it's a funny joke, but it gets old at some point. So that, and again, I have not.
Yeah,
watched it.
I can definitely see, depending on either the party lines that you fall or some of your
And this was someone that
your
falls
backgrounds.
on my party lines.
You know, and I think there's plenty of jokes and innuendos that are probably flat out missed. I think you have to be. Yeah, there's a certain mind frame that you have to have, I think, to even get a large part of the jokes. Now, mind you, let me be very clear. I went into it 100% blind. I had no idea the premise. All I heard is everybody saying that you should watch it or posting about it or talking about it. That's all that I knew. And so because I'm just a sheep and I follow peer pressure, I decided to click on it and download it. But I knew nothing of the premise of the movie. From what I thought I had heard, there were just it was a relatively
Satire.
huge cast or you know, blockbuster type names that were in the roles and the casting of it. But that's all I knew going into it, and I'll just say that I enjoyed it. So
Okay.
Dustin says he thinks it was a pretty solid 7 out of 10. Out there, a couple other reviews coming in from there. Ray says, Terry did awesome work this weekend to film and turn around all 3 rounds this weekend. Very enjoyable watches between football. I appreciate that, Ray. As I said, we've got a little bit more coming out, and really a large part of that was Kyle being able to do some filming, and then me each night just buckling down and getting all the edits done. And yeah, it was good. It was fun. Webb says that the movie was interesting and he enjoyed it. Somebody else, DG Stein 80 says, didn't Haley grow up throwing Innova? Is that part of why she switched sponsors? Will there be noticeable improvement?
I wouldn't. I mean, she did grow up throwing some Innova, as a lot of us here in Wisconsin did. It was more of a prevalent disc than Discraft, which was kind of the thing. I know Haley's relatively young, so she even came after the big schism, so to speak, in 2012. I think she generally threw mostly Innova growing up. I don't think you're going to see a huge improvement. You might see her go back to some of her more comfortable discs that she had, but we know, you know, Jen Allen, I kind of wanted to point it out tonight, had really, really nailed it on the head when she said the disc she threw the distance competition with wasn't even her disc. It's not like she had this disc all tweaked up to the exact way she wanted it, you know, a stack of 10 discs where she can just really line up and throw. It was a disc that she was familiar with the type of flight, and she's a pro. She can get it to work for her. Haley's going to do the same thing. Haley's going to find these discs. She's going to find what works for her, and she's going to shoot, you know, Haley golf, which means she'll light up some courses and have a great time, and other times she won't. And we'll see it. I don't think you're going to see like a next level Haley due to the discs.
She's not going from a 960 or 970 player to a 1010 rated player by next week or anything like that due to any of the discs. She may find some newfound or comfortable. I was going to say newfound comfort or comfortable comfort or something of that nature, or get back something of that nature. But yeah, I don't think you're going to see an overhauled Haley King and her game and her performance. But there is also something to be said of the excitement, the fresh new plastic, or going back or digging out some that you maybe had in a closet that you had tucked away a few years ago. I'm sure there's all of that excitement and some of those feels and vibes that can come back when you're throwing something that you were once very familiar with. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see a large hiccup one way or another. And all of our pros say it week in and week out. I'm a professional. It's my job to go out and learn these discs and to get them finely tuned and tweaked and ready to go. And that's, most of them don't even want an excuse. I would say give me a full 6 to 9 months of excuses, but most of them actually say, no, I don't want any excuses. However, speaking of learning discs, there was some other news that we didn't talk about in the regular show, which was that Ricky Wysocki put out a little bit of a tweet of sorts that proclaimed he's not sure if he's going to be in the All-Stars weekend.
Oh, no, I think he flat out said he wasn't going to be
I thought
there.
he said I may not be there because he might skip it to get ready
to
for
get more Vegas. Well, we know Paul isn't going to play. He flat out said that he will not be playing the All-Star. Okay, yeah, Ricky says he may skip the All-Star.
Yeah, he said, so pumped for Vegas. I may skip the All-Stars event to get more time dialing in my new disc. I want to be 100% ready for Vegas and beyond. So now, again, that was a tweet today. Lots can change. We are, a full month out from the All-Star event. So,
I'm sure a few calls will be made. And
I wouldn't go betting your Bitcoin on it one way or another just yet. But that is something. And then, as you had mentioned, Paul Macbeth also mentioned that he is not planning on being there.
No, he flat out just said, I informed them that I will not be there. So, because somebody
Spill
was saying...
the tea. Why?
I don't know. I'm sure it's just a matter of him. The All-Star event is a fun event. There's going to be a skills competition. I'm sure there's going to be some golf happening, all this other stuff. But it's not...
hardcore competitive.
It's not a priority to these players. They would rather make sure that they are ready for the season than play this All-Star event.
Okay.
And I think that might be some of the issues that we could see the Pro Tour run into if this All-Star event is going to be a couple weeks before the season starts.
And do you feel like that will remain the same, A, with timing, and B,
I don't know,
regardless with, say, money or other incentives for being there?
I don't know.
Maybe a sponsor obligation or tie-in in the future or anything of that nature?
There could definitely be something like that where a sponsor says, no, we'd really like you at this All-Star event. It helps promote this and that. There's a lot of fans that come. That is definitely something I could see in the future. But right now, as fun as it's going to be, the players did the All-Star event last year, and I think that it was a first last year. Like, cool, there's an All-Star event. Now, it's not the first. It's another All-Star event. Okay, it's another All-Star event. Does it shock anybody if in 3 to 4 or 5 years someone's like, I don't really feel like doing the All-Star event. I'm the third best player in the world, whoever that might be. Just gonna skip it. I can go kayaking that weekend or whatever it might be. Unless there is a significant financial benefit to them going to an All-Star event, I don't foresee it. And we know with Paul and Ricky, their perspectives are different as to what a significant financial incentive would be compared to, we'll even say our guest last year, Chris Dickerson.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah. Did I say last week or last year?
You said last year.
Oh,
I knew
last week. Those are different perspectives, but when you have a $200,000 a year contract versus $1 million a year contract.
Sure.
So it just opens it up for another All-Star to show up.
Yeah, and someone on the board had just mentioned, Dustin said, that's why it shouldn't be, I'm guessing you're talking about the same subject here, that's why it shouldn't be preseason. I guess the question is, does it matter? Will that influence? Because I know at the end of the season, you're talking about, the wrapping up the Pro Tour in terms of the actual events, the individual events. Then you're talking about the major as the USDGC. You're talking about a near major in the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships. And at that point, if you're not physically and emotionally drained, I don't know, there's no other time to be at. So to have it a week or 2 weeks after that seems like no one is going to be interested in that. Everybody pretty much is ready to get off the road and to relax and to chill out.
Yeah. It's going
Does
to be
it
difficult.
need to be in the middle of the year?
No. Because the players will take that opportunity to skip
take
it,
the weekend
to take
off.
a weekend off. Like, I don't have to. I'm in the middle of my grind. I can really just take 2 to 3 weeks off now.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter when it is. You're going to have players that just will not play it.
Okay.
Just like any other All-Star.
Well, and that's where I start talking about comparing it to other sports. Yeah, what
baseball's in the middle of the season. Hockey's in the middle of their season. NFL's at the end of the season. It's usually the week before the Super Bowl now or the week after. I forget if they just changed it. Anyway, yeah, I mean, you there's different ones. NBA's in the middle of their season, and every time with every one of those leagues, if it's in the middle of the season, you have players not play for any given reason, whether it's they're burnt out, they're slightly injured, whatever reason or excuse that they're given. If, again, I see it as, and maybe it's cynical of me, if there's not a decent financial incentive to be there, there's no reason for these players to put themselves at any sort of risk of injury, even the slightest chance. And this isn't going to be a we're not doing like monster drive competition, my understanding is. I think there's going to be a drive accuracy competition. I don't even know for sure. I've heard 3 different things. So we'll find out at the time. It would suck to blow out a knee on a temp course 2 weeks before the season starts, and there goes your year.
Yeah.
And I don't foresee that happening. We don't see a lot of injuries in disc golf, but what matters to these players? It's winning the big events. This is not a big event. This is a fun event.
Somebody on the board, DG Stein 80, says all expenses stay at a Hilton resort. Sounds awesome for me, even if you don't get paid. Again, to back up your point, John, it is all about perspective, because that does sound great to so many of us, or that sounds great. Our bar has been raised in disc golf, and what used to really entice and appease these players and or even woo them and win them over, that bar continues to raise. And that's not to say that people aren't doing amazing things. That's clearly not it. It's just it takes a little bit more and more each year, and these guys are getting pulled in more directions. Everybody wants a piece of them for something. And just like your mainstream sports, there's only so many things you can say yes to, only so many commitments you can say yes to. And then, as you're saying, the injuries or sheer exhaustion and everything else, a lot of people just want some time off. I saw someone this weekend really challenging the decision by Chris Dickerson to go out to the Northwest, Pacific Northwest.
Not go out there?
Yeah, about how he wasn't going out there, and then, hey, there's money now, more money that Discraft's helping you out with, as opposed to if that was a problem or not previously with Prodigy or not, but there's more money, and it's like, well, no, we have our dogs, we might want to take a weekend off. Chris doesn't enjoy flying. Even if you do enjoy flying, a lot of our players that live that RV and van life hate the idea of taking everything they want and need and somehow now condensing that to just a few bags for the weekend. And I know some people feel very comfortable with that, but if that's not your lifestyle and that's not what you're used to, because you usually travel with all of your necessary
worldly
possessions right there, and now you are going to fly to compete in a big time event on the other side of the country, and you hate flying, you do you. These players should go where they need to go, where they want to go, and I know we want more of them. We want to see all the best players at all the best venues for all the biggest paydays in all the best situations. But man, these players will grow and thrive and mature as they realize that they have to say no to a few things, and they have to learn to take a few weekends off here and there. They are going to continue to get just bombarded with opportunities. And
Tim Courts, our Patreon winner from last week, brings up a good point that maybe somehow tie it into they're behind us over there, Terry.
Dang it.
Tie it into the DGBT championship. Maybe on that Monday have some sort of skills challenge, or the day or two before the event, to kind of, because the players are going to be there for the finale. Sure. That would about be the only way you could guarantee probably all your top players participating, is to tie it into another event. Sorry. Woo.
Yeah.
It hit me in the middle.
Ah, gosh, yeah.
You bore me, Terry.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point. And as someone has also mentioned on the board, that needs to be tied to an exposure element, like broadcast on a major network or something like that. Maybe or maybe not. Of course, that would be a good angle to take. But I also know that this is intended to give these players kind of a reward or a kickback as well for their performance and or popularity. They're playing for substantial money. They're getting all expenses, paid and taken care of. So they're being treated well in that way. And then it's also going to be another live event that's provided on Disc Golf Network. So it does sound like all positives, and it is. It's just a matter of, are there enough for our most elite players to still be enticed? That's going to be the ultimate question. So I guess we'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, it is a little, you got to wonder, is Eagle also, interested with his injury and how that's going or not? Is that one more competitive weekend that he may not need, so to speak? I use need in air quotes. We'll see. I did see Todd Rainwater this weekend. When I was out in Arizona. He said he was excited to see things taking place in Tucson, a place where he resides for some parts of the year. And it sounds like it's going to be a phenomenal facility and a great event. So I am excited to be part of the coverage team working with Nate and Val. I'm not sure if Nate Sexton's involved or not, but I know at least Nate and Val are, and I'll be in Bend calling the shots. All right. Galactic Conqueror says, I'm late. Terry, thanks for the Shelly Sharpe coverage. AB broke through. Yeah, he did quite well. Players get a free sub in the players pack. Boom, full field. Yeah, Mike, if it was only that easy. I totally agree with you. Some people are talking about how it should be hosted in Hawaii. That sounds ambitious and expensive, but maybe someday that becomes a thing. I don't know. Does Thomas Gilbert want to go back? I mean, if you're just there, like you're in this amazing location, would you suffer through the flight to go back again?
Yes, but I think if you were Thomas Gilbert, you made the All-Star event, you would probably
just hold off on your vacation.
Coordinate your vacation around the All-Star event.
Okay. Taylor says, at what point does the DGPT start dictating these terms? Do this as part of your getting a tour card. I mean, I think the large question within there, the slightly bigger question is, where do obligations become requirements? What's a requirement? What's an obligation? What's contractual, if any? I mean, you're bringing up a very good point. Can you force someone to play golf? What if they have an injury or nursing an injury? Maybe you want them there as an appearance for some, other things. I know one of the components to the All-Star Weekend, it was last year and it's going to be this year, is it's a great time for the Disc Golf Pro Tour and Disc Golf Network to have access to all the players in a designated setting to get some preseason interviews, to get preseason photos, to do a little bit of that kind of media prep work. When you see a lot of the cool assets and things that unfold throughout the year, some of that gets filmed and shot, and the raw footage and raw materials are acquired at this all-star event. So it's also serving that purpose, so that in two events into the year and Missy Gannon is destroying everyone on the lead card, and we've got this incredible interview with Missy Gannon where she talks about what she's going to do when she's got a 10-stroke lead. Like, hey, that conveniently is right here on this little, on this hard drive, and it was shot 2 months ago. So there's some things that play into it in that regard as well. Seeing out on the board, Mike says, Ricky selling his Innova shirts on Dollar Disc Golf auction for $150, and people giving him crap because he's a millionaire now.
Oh, he's not quite a millionaire yet. He probably hasn't gotten all those checks.
Cash those checks.
He's got to cash those checks. Again, we've said this before.
What should he be doing with them? Let's answer that. Is there an obligation what you do with your old clothing?
No. I mean, you could give them away. You could raise money for charity. You could do a lot of things. There's no right answer. If Ricky wants to sell them, cool. Maybe he gives that money to family, to an employee, to whatever. I mean, there's no right answer, and whatever he chooses to do, within reason, he shouldn't be giving crap for it. If someone's willing to pay $150 for a Ricky Wysocki Innova shirt, by all means, grab that bag.
Yeah.
It's I don't care if you're a millionaire or a billionaire. It's usually you get to one by being frugal and fiscal, or it helps out. I have no problem with Ricky, whatever Ricky does with his shirts. So
yeah, and Mike also says
none of my business.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't like it, don't buy one. I mean, that's a pretty simple solution, right? Don't bid on it. If you think it's not worth that much, then don't bid on it.
Someone said there's no shortage of buyers. There you go.
Yeah, that kind of is an answer there. And if you're not doing anything wrong or nefarious in the process,
correct.
I mean,
that's what I said, within reason.
Mike also says that Dickerson sold his whole lot of clothes also. Didn't see him taking as much flack. I know shortly after our podcast with Chris last week, he was he had posted saying he's looking to sell his Prodigy, I don't want to say allotment, everything he's acquired via Prodigy, and I forget how many discs it exactly was, but he was looking to sell it as a lot. He didn't necessarily want to piece them out and probably go through the process of selling one-off, dozens or hundreds of times over. And I'm not sure where that actually stands.
There's a business every year. You have someone who, you got players who are switching sponsors that want to get rid of their old stuff. Let's start up a disc golf resale company where you take their lot and you resell it. And if they want to piece it out, or versus a giant lot, and you take a small cut of that, then the players don't have to deal with it. You drive to Tennessee. You're like, all right, Chris. All right, here's your 250 Prodigy discs that you have, and your 20 Prodigy shirts. I'm going to package these all up. And how do you want them done? Do you want it done as a lot? What are you looking to get for them? Or would you rather see me piece them out, and then you take a middleman? Because we're going to have players switch sponsors every year now, practically.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's a business idea for somebody right here.
You're clever.
On Smashbox.
And where like, what method would they use to ship these discs? I gave it away already. They would probably need a good
disc in a box.
Yeah, shipping solution like my disc in a box. They would probably want to get a cardboard box that's adjustable. So if you have one disc, you could fold it to just fit one. If you had two mids or maybe even three drivers,
wow.
Yeah, there's a solution. This guy's got it for you.
I had this thought, and that's usually not a good thing.
Nope.
If you order a exclusive disc, we'll say from a manufacturer,
okay,
how much would it matter to you if it came in a really, really cool custom box? I would say 3 or 4 levels up from your disc in a box, like an actual.
There is no level up.
I'm just saying, like an actual.
Yeah, like a. Okay.
Almost like a case. You open up the box and there's padding.
This has been done. Yep.
Has it? I don't recall offhand.
Okay.
I don't order a lot of stuff, clearly.
Yeah.
But just almost a box for that specific collector disc.
Yep. So. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really going after that niche market of, hey, you want something that's unique, that is not in mass quantities or mass production. And then the casing and the presentation of it is seemingly as cool or as elusive or exclusive as the disc itself. Yeah, I totally agree.
And Ray nails it, like fancy packaging, like an Apple or the new Google products that you get, like the very tightly fit box that you open up and it just has it's presented there for you in a very nice way that you could almost just open it up and set it out on a counter as a piece of art or something along those lines, depending on what you're going for in your particular house. I think that is that's a market that we don't see enough of.
Yeah, and I think it takes some really good designers.
It does
to really make that worth the time and the money. But yeah, there's definitely an opportunity for something like that to be done. And I think we'll continue to get closer to that as we find these one-off markets, these exclusive discs, these limited runs. I totally agree that those are all possibilities for sure. So. Along those lines, you're of the time frame clearly, like myself, hence the play on it.
Thanks.
My disc in a box, the reference.
Yes.
Do you think inherently just saying, "Hey, my disc in a box," or that company or that branding, do you think inherently that carries a negative connotation?
No.
Well, good. Then you should argue with the guy that posted on my the comment, and I know you can't appease them all. I get that. But he said every time he sees either the logo or my reference to it, he called it my D in B, said it's cringeworthy and he doesn't like it. And I thought to myself, and I can understand that. My first response was, hey, not all brands are not for all people. So we can start there. I'm good with that. But secondly, there's plenty of people who don't even get the reference. Like the Saturday Night Live. Yeah, it's very dated.
I mean, that's got to be what? Almost 10 years old now?
I think it's more than that. I think it's actually more than that.
Sure.
I don't want to type it into Google, but I will. I feel like 2009.
Okay, so 12 13 years old, yeah. Okay, so.
And it just, and I get it. I am not ever setting out to be wildly over the top offensive or in your face or anything like that. But I feel like there are, in fact, I'll go as far as saying I mentioned it to somebody the other day. They had no clue like the connection between the Saturday Night Live skit and then the play that I was making on it.
I mean, if you see the logo.
Sure, but even then, some people still may not know the skit itself, though. It depends on the generation.
Here's what I'll say. If you don't know the skit and you see the logo, I would think, like, what the is his logo? Like, why is it this? Obviously, knowing the history and whatnot, it makes a lot of sense. But if I didn't know the skit and I saw your logo, I'd be like, what the hell is this guy? Where did this logo come from?
Well, at any rate, I thought it was funny that was one of all the things I say and do. That's where somebody got a little worked up in the comments of my YouTube section this weekend. Another funny comment from this weekend, not on posted on my page, but we were all Shelly Sharpe Memorial Course at the event. Lots of people walking along. We're kind of near the 13 and 14 interchange, which is always a congested spot to be. Tons of people watching golf, maybe a couple hundred people near the sidewalk. We're watching the live golf this weekend. One of our lead card players was getting ready to putt. Some guy buzzing through on a bike, a very popular bike path, walking path, said something to the effect of, "What are all you effing idiots watching somebody throw a frisbee when football's on? Or why aren't you're not watching football, but you're watching this?" It was something of that nature. And so basically was making fun of or screaming at the hundreds of gallery members
for
that
watching
were watching
one sport versus another sport.
Yeah, that were watching live disc golf.
As opposed to sitting in their house and watching television?
As opposed to watching what was being played on the television. Well, it was just such a funny heckle as he was driving, which is ironic because Arizona, he wasn't watching it either. He was on a bike riding through the park, so he was yelling at...
And of all things, Arizona, which is where you was in the playoffs in the NFL, but it was a Monday night game. They were playing with the Rams, where they got demolished.
Oh, spoilers, bro.
Spoilers.
I was going to watch that.
The post-production of it. So it's not even like, in theory, their local team was playing. Their local team was playing the next night. It was a Monday night game. So whatever, people are dumb, Terry.
They are. I know. It was just the humor of a guy riding through the sea of people that were watching the final round, and his heckle or his call out was essentially complaining and or heckling that we weren't watching football, but they were sitting there watching live disc golf, and he didn't approve of that apparently. So it was kind of funny because a lot of people heard it. Like, you realize you're not watching football right now either, you idiot.
Maybe he was listening to it.
He wasn't watching it.
No, I don't know.
Anyway, maybe he had the Google. Yeah, he probably had the Google glass on or something when he was watching it. How are those doing?
Not good. I think they're actually talking about re-releasing a different version of it for business, but it's a whole nother. That's
I'd love for it to read my emails to me while open.
Your phone does that.
Yeah, I know, but my phone's not attached to my face.
Okay.
Is that one of your favorite technologies that hasn't taken off? I mean, you wear glasses. Don't you want your whole life, like, even closer to your eyeballs?
I don't.
You don't want to have to look anywhere else. It's right there.
Yeah. Mark Hill on the board says, I'm not seeing any comments except those made by Smashbox. Most of the people are commenting on YouTube. I see the full list of comments. They might They might actually be seeing yours, Mark, but Facebook might be different where it doesn't post them to Facebook. I know Twitch and YouTube tend to go back and forth. So you can find us on Facebook, obviously, YouTube, and Twitch. So those 3 places that we simulcast to. Real quick, I want to talk about Skip Ace, Fantasy Disc Golf.
Oh, yeah.
Big update.
Where the real players play.
Where the real players play. No, where you pretend to play. Big update coming this week. We're adding another new format this year, which will be the season-long draft, kind of like traditional fantasy football or fantasy sports, where you pick a team with a bunch of other guys or girls, and you get that team throughout the entire season. Add and drop players. Every person gets a, you're basically battling your league. In the past, we've always done redraft leagues, which were every week you get to just use your salary cap and pick whomever you want that fits into the cap. This season, we're adding another feature. One of the things that I just kind of announced on the website is we're going to actually be, for better or worse, people, we're actually going to be charging a little bit to play.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you capitalistic, money-hungry, greedy SOB.
We've got a couple different ways to play, and if you want to have specific custom leagues done, it will cost you $10 for the year.
Oh my gosh, I don't have $10.
I know you don't, Terry. I took it from you.
Damn it.
But as always, we will offer the free version, which is the traditional, what we used to call the standard league, which is you can create your own league. It has all the DGPT events and majors that qualify. And I say that because USDGC is always a little iffy because they don't have women, so it messes it up a little bit. So, and with a specific salary cap, but you don't get any of the custom options. With creating a custom league, you get all of those particular features, as well as being able to change out, add alternate players. And if one of your players decides to withdraw, throw a fit, not show up, who knows what these players do. And you can edit individual events. You can edit your league settings. Again, that's going to be part of the draft as well, is going to be that feature. So look for that. If you're listening to this on Friday, it should probably already be out. I just kind of went through it with my developer who knew nothing about fantasy sports and cleared up a few of the verbiage that he had chosen when we went through the walkthrough. I'm like, no, you don't call it that. It's not, you don't trade with free agency. You add or drop. You trade with another player, which we don't have, and we'll have that hopefully next year. But there's some goofy things that we had to go through because he's kind of he's a phenomenal guy out of Utah, but just not a sports person. I don't want to pigeonhole him in as like a typical tech kid, but he's definitely much younger than us and very good at what he does. So anyway, take a look at that. That's skipace.com. If you're interested in playing fantasy sports or fantasy disc golf, by all means, please go out there and sign up. I'm going to be sending out a mass email newsletter in the next 2 or 3 days once we get this all finalized. So yay me.
Nice work. That's the one complaint I guess I would say all these years that I've had about Skip Ace.
Is that I wasn't charging you?
Yeah, is that I wasn't able to give you enough money in enough ways. And I appreciate you making that possible.
I want to make it possible, Terry, for you particularly to give me more money.
That sounds like a plan. And speaking of giving money, Mark Hill. Thank you, Mark. We appreciate it. Just chimed in with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. This is going to be a quick tangent, and I feel like it's worth repeating every few months. We talk about our Patreon, which we're going to have a giveaway for. Our Patreon account, unless you change something, is there's one for the disc golf guy, which is primarily my life as a disc golf content producer for post-production. And then there's also the one we do that is us joined here as the show and all of the things we do here for the podcast. Both of our Patreon accounts in both scenarios are set up in a creator per creation basis, meaning every time we do something, if we post it to there, that's when your pledge as a Patreon supporter comes to us. If we don't do things, you don't get charged, so to speak. And Patreon, a number of years ago now, created an alternative to that and said, hey, you can just pledge money toward an entity or a creator and you can make it a monthly amount, and regardless of what's posted or not, and maybe even yearly, regardless of what they post, you're going to support them on a monthly or on a yearly basis. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Everybody has different initiatives, goals, and agendas. But both of our channels, both the Disc Golf Guy and Smashbox combined, we do it on a per content basis. So
if we're not making anything, you're not getting charged.
Yeah, and the best part about that is you can support it at any level you wish. So if you really love the podcast and you're like, hey, that is worth $1 every time I hear those idiots, you can do that. And then you can say, wait, there's 5 weeks in some months. I don't want to give them $5. I want to cap it at $4. You can actually set a cap so that no matter what we do, it won't go over that limit. And that's the same on the Disc Golf Guy channel, in that some months I may put out 4 videos, and usually I will only have half of those count toward the actual pledging. And so if I put out a front and a back of round 1, I will just charge, I use that in air quotes, for one of those 2, usually the front. And then round 2, I do the same. Some months, I may put out 29 videos. I do 14 and a half rounds of coverage, which may happen. But I put out 29 videos. In theory, 14 and a half of those would count to you, but you said, hey, I wanted to give you $2 a video, but I want to cap it at $12. So it would do exactly that. Once it hits $12, even if I post 39 more videos, it will still only charge you at whatever you capped it at. So very rarely do we go over these details, and I hope that's not too much to randomly consume here in the middle of the after show, but I wanted to make that clarification. We appreciate at any level anyone that supports us, so thank you very much. But I want to put that distinction out there, just kind of as a refresher. I received a few new Patreon subscribers over the weekend. Somebody came in at a large amount, and I sent them a message and said, hey, I just want to make sure you understand how you're doing it. It's charged per creation, and you can set a cap. And whether he did or not, is up to him. But I wanted to make sure he knew it, so that if I do put out 29 videos this month, he doesn't get this ridiculous charge.
$17,000? What are you?
I know you were busy, but I didn't. So I wanted to make that distinction for everyone. And again, just double check when you're looking at any Patreon supporters, whether it's another disc golf content producer or someone who draws comics or makes art or does anything else on that platform. Just make sure you know how they have it set up so that you don't get some crazy a charge at the end of the month. And then, because then you'll probably get mad at the creator, and you really probably shouldn't. I just want you to know there's different ways to go about it. So speaking of
Patreon support, as Terry said, patreon.com/smashboxtv. Everybody that donates $1, which is the minimum you can donate. So everyone that donates to Smashbox TV gets entered into a weekly contest. And
contest?
A weekly giveaway, Terry. Dang. Not even a contest, it's a giveaway.
Jeez.
Contest implies
all you have to do is be breathing.
Yeah.
And even that, even if we don't
check.
We're sending it to your house.
If the check cashes, we're sending you some stuff. And this week we're going to be giving away some Shelly Sharpe discs, did I see?
Yes. Thank you to our friends over at Spinners on the Green, Ashley, Keith, Alex, Danny, all amazing humans that have been over at Spinners on the Green forever and putting on the event this last week, and of course the Shelly Sharpe Memorial. And then they are your host and sponsors and whatnot for everything that you'll see at the Memorial Championships at the end of February, beginning of March. So I've got 2 different discs, and I'll let you choose. If you reach out to me, you're the winner. I'll let you choose. I've got a couple of different Innova discs that I believe I had snagged that have the Shelly Sharpe logo on them, the Shelly Sharpe Memorial logo on them.
So if you want to be eligible, please, by all means, support us at Patreon. And right now, Terry, we have 178 people that are eligible for our giveaway. How do we want to...
We're going first number.
First number
tonight.
Do you have a preference on how we sort the names? Right now I have them sorted by first name or by name. I can't do first and second name, but based on how the thing's set up. Do you have a particular preference, Terry, or should we just go by name?
Oh, I think we should sort them by their overall contributions.
Low to high, high to low.
low to high.
Low to high. All right, so I will sort them by overall contributions. Right now, you say it's the very first number, and our first number generated between 1 and 178 people that are eligible is the number 170.
Low to high. So this means
170.
if sorted by low to high, this means this would be likely either a longtime Patreon supporter or someone who gives a lot but hasn't been doing it for very long. Either way, this is someone that has clearly supported us in a wildly significant fashion, and we thank you guys so much.
Disc Baron Digital Green Room.
Heck yeah. Thank you so much to Disc Baron, a great disc golf pro shop out of Michigan. Thank you guys so much. Also, a contributor outside of Patreon has graciously supported us and financially and does what they can to promote us. So we appreciate it. Thank you so much over at Disc Baron. We'll send a disc out to you, whether you guys hang it on the wall or you resell it in your pro shop, make some of your money back. Either way, we don't mind. We appreciate the support. And yes, you often hear us call out the Disc Baron Digital Green Room because they do step up and support us even additionally with finances. So thank you so much.
Luke Turnbull says, I feel like I might have been close. You were number 161, Luke.
Oh, Luke. So we're not saying step up your game, but no, we're not.
We're not.
We appreciate and love all of you Patreon. And quite honestly, we've said this before, and I say it with every video I put out. If it weren't for the support that we receive via Patreon, we wouldn't be able to continue doing what we're doing
every Tuesday.
Helps keep the lights on, as I think they say.
Yeah, these lights right here. See, if you don't support us,
this is what happens. The people are like, "Oh, we like that better anyway." Like, those guys look better that way. No, but seriously, events like the Shelly Sharpe on my channel wouldn't happen. And additional giveaways and things that we do here week in and week out wouldn't happen without that support. So we very much appreciate it. Yeah, anything else before we any movies, music, games, pop culture, deaths, marriages? Anything else to speak of here, Johnny?
I don't think so. I think my wife and I are going to start watching a new series.
Oh, this sounds hot. Tell me about it.
We're gonna exciting in the Van Derzen household.
So
Righteous
hot.
Gemstones.
Oh, that does sound hot.
HBO comedy with you remember the gentleman that Eastbound and Down, the pitcher?
Yeah. He makes me laugh just thinking about him. What a character.
Yep, he is in a series along with a lot of other famous people about a family that runs a megachurch. It's on HBO. I think from there I've heard nothing but good things. So they just started their second season. So my wife and I we'll probably watch that over the next few weeks. That's about it.
I like it.
Yeah, it should be fun. I think a lot of people. Yeah, Danny McBride. Thank you is the name.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Some people say it's the best show on TV.
Wow.
It has gotten very good reviews. It's very funny. My understanding is. So I'm excited.
What
dig in.
platform again?
HBO.
Yeah. Dang it. I gotta find a way to steal that. I mean, I gotta subscribe.
Bro, Smashbox has an account.
Oh, okay.
They actually, we literally do because it comes with our AT&T fiber that comes in. So
damn you! You've been holding out on me.
I have not.
Yeah,
I've just been using it.
I just keep thinking of him saying, "I'm effing in and you're effing." Oh my god! I want to go back and watch some more Eastbound and Down.
Rewatch the first season, which is the best season. Yeah. After that, it's a little sketchy at times, but overall, yes, that is Eastbound and Down was very funny.
There's a lot of stuff I got to eventually get around to watching.
Yeah, you still are nowhere near
Ted Lasso.
And you haven't watched Ted
There's
Lasso.
a lot of stuff. Someday.
Letterkenny you fell off of?
Yeah, I did, but I very much enjoyed what I did watch, but I'll have to get back on it. So many things. I just need to take more long trips so I can actually be detached from the internet for a little while and consume some more stuff. All right, guys, we're going to call it. We got to thank you so much for joining us. We got to thank Jen Allen. Make sure you're checking out the PDGA Radio podcast and all the great things that they're doing over there. Thank you to the PDGA. We've been longtime fans and supporters. Will continue to be. Exciting things taking place. Obviously, well over the 200,000 numbers, and looking forward to more growth here in 2022 and beyond. We'll call it. Stay tuned. Disc Golf Guy channel is going to have a ton. I literally just re-released the back nine of the chase card of Final Round. I've got a special Kale piece. I've got FPO coverage coming. We've got Jubilee action out of Alabama. We got Bay County stuff coming. So much disc golf, and we're just a few weeks away from kicking off the 2022 season on the largest of large scales. So I'll keep you satiated until then. For Jen Allen, along with Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, this has been Podcast 386. We love you all, and we'll see you next week when you step inside the Smash Box.